Chapter 111. Of course, Long Yu knew that the aura of the heaven-suppressing sun that he had released was too strong. If the other three experts weren't too far away, they would have quickly sensed the commotion and rushed over. Before that, Long Yu had to get rid of Hua Buxi. Heaven-suppressing field, release. Long Yu took a step forward and the heaven-suppressing sun shone brightly. The light of the sun merged with the pressure of the heaven-suppressing field and illuminated the entire area. Hua Buxi was naturally within the range of the heaven-suppressing field. Ice force. Hua Buxi snorted coldly and continued to release the ice force to fight against Long Yu's heaven-suppressing field. At the same time, the frost flower true spirit behind him began to release ice to envelop Long Yu, trying to freeze him. Ice shadow. Following Hua Buxi's shout, the skinny, androgynous red-robed figure instantly turned into ice. Then, dozens of identical ice figures appeared in all directions. Ice stream. Dozens of Hua Buxi's ice silhouettes raised their hands at the same time. Immediately after, they released a stream of light that was formed from ice at the same time. There were dozens of streams of ice in total, and they swept towards Long Yuchuan, who was in the middle. Looking down from the sky, the dozens of streams of ice reflected the light of the heaven-suppressing sun, resembling a blooming flower of ice. And Long Yu was in the center of this flower of ice, as if he was about to be devoured by it and drowned. Shadow of ice, stream of ice, both are mid-grade spirit martial skills. Long Yu held the 9 nether dragon spear and stood in the middle of the field. Facing his opponent's killing blow, his heart became calmer. The ice shadow could instantly form dozens of ice clones with the power of the law of ice. The ice stream could release dozens of ice clones at the same time. Every ice stream could directly kill an expert at the first level of the true spirit realm. Even though I have formed the heaven-suppressing sun, Hua Buxi can still suppress the Xian Qi in my body and make it difficult for me to use any martial skills. Long Yu had a deeper understanding of the strength of a second-rank true spirit realm expert. Even though the difference in basic strength could be made up for by activating the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, in actual combat, Long Yu had no way of completely unleashing the 2 Jun of basic strength. The strength of 1 Jun was equivalent to the strength of 1,000 horses. The strength of 2 Jun was equivalent to the strength of 2,000 horses. Long Yu, who had just stepped into the true spirit secret realm, didn't know how to use such terrifying power. I can only fight with brute force. Long Yu gritted his teeth. The heaven-suppressing sun behind him instantly erupted with an even more tyrannical heaven-suppressing domain's power, slowing down the speed of the dozens of ice currents that were coming at him. Then, he held the long spear in his hand and used the 10,000 kills spear technique in the midst of battle. 10,000 killer, 1 spear strike kills 10,000 people. This spear art was not only useful on the battlefield, but also when one was outnumbered. If he used the 10,000 kill spear technique, he would be able to condense the power of killing 10,000 people into a single point. In a one-on-one fight, he would also be able to erupt with extremely terrifying destructive power. 9 Underworlds pattern, activate. The long spear in Long Yu's hand suddenly emitted a strange black 9 Underworlds chi, followed by a burst of chilling killing intent. The 10,000 kill spear relied on momentum the most. The momentum of killing intent. On the battlefield, as a general, Long Zai Tian naturally couldn't take a step back. He could only follow the killing intent in his heart and kill everyone in the enemy camp. And the number of people that Long Yu had killed was also not small. Just as he was about to use the 10,000 kill spear technique, the killing intent immediately surged and condensed at the tip of the 9 Underworlds dragon spear. 10,000 kill. With the 9 Underworlds dragon spear in hand, Long Yu stabbed out and casually swept towards one of Hua Buxi's ice doppelgangers. The killing intent instantly enveloped the entire area. Under the tyrannical heaven suppression domain of Long Yu's heaven suppression sun, A single thrust of his spear was able to shatter several ice currents. Immediately after, his body seemed to merge with the 9 underworld's dragon spear as he turned into a black stream of light. Accompanied by endless killing intent, he swept his spear horizontally and shattered several ice doppelgangers, turning them into ice shards that fell to the ground. Ice currents chase. As Long Yu's body moved, dozens of ice currents missed their target. However, immediately after, Hua Buxi controlled the ice currents and continued to entangle Long Yu. These ice currents intertwined in the entire area to form a magnificent ice net. Very soon, Long Yu discovered that even if he wanted to use his movement technique to dodge, there was no space left. The entire valley was filled with ice currents, causing the temperature of the environment to drop to an extremely low level. Martial cultivators who had not condensed their true spirits would probably be completely frozen by this terrifyingly low temperature even without Hua Buxi's intentional targeting. 10,000 kill break. However, Long Yu was not flustered at all. He turned around and executed the 10,000 kill spear technique, gathering endless killing intent and instantly shattering the ice currents that were chasing after him. It's a spiritual upper-tier spear technique. Hua Buxi's eyes were sharp. With one look, he could tell that Long Yu was executing a spiritual upper-tier spear technique. Spiritual martial techniques could only be practiced and executed by experts who had condensed their true spirit. This Long Yu had only just condensed his true spirit and stepped into the true spirit secret realm, but he was already able to execute a spiritual spear technique? Or could it be that Long Yu was using battle to practice his spear technique? That was the truth. After executing the 10,000 kill twice, I've finally mastered this martial technique. However, it will be extremely difficult to improve it further. For the 10,000 kill of the minor success realm, I need to kill 10 people to accumulate more killing intent. For the 10,000 kill of the greater success realm, I need to kill 100 people to accumulate more killing intent. For the 10,000 kill of the 10,000 kill of the greater success realm, I need to kill 1,000 people or even 10,000 people in order to master the real 10,000 kill spear technique. Long Yu thought to himself. It was almost impossible for him to kill Hua Buxi with the 10,000 kill of the 10,000 kill spear technique. If that was the case, he could only resort to a method that he did not want to use. Dragon of the 9 underworld, I wonder what kind of power you will bring me if I release you? Long Yu's eyes flashed coldly. He had to kill Hua Buxi as soon as possible. Otherwise, when Baiheng, Huafu, and Lu Yuan arrived, he would be dead. Dragon of the 9 underworld, true spirit, appear. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He used his Xian Qi to activate his Dantian. Instantly, a dragon of the 9 underworld shadow appeared behind him, emitting a strange and dense 9 underworld Qi. The appearance of the dragon of the 9 underworld seemed to turn the entire area into the Yellow Springs. Hua Buxi did not even have time to react before he was stunned on the spot. At the same time, his ice doppelgangers were shattered by the Yellow Springs, allowing Hua Buxi's real body to finally appear in front of Long Yu. Dragon of the 9 underworld fist, able to simulate the Yellow Springs path and shock the opponent. I didn't expect the dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit to be able to envelop the entire area with the Yellow Springs path and shock everyone on the spot. It was even able to shatter the ice doppelgangers. Seeing this, how could Long Yu not seize the opportunity? 10,000 kill. Long Yu sprinted forward with his spear in hand. The tip of his spear danced in the air as the 9 underworld Qi spread throughout the area. The spear stabbed forward. Hua Buxi, who was stunned by the dragon of the 9 underworld shadow, did not even have time to react before the spear pierced through his chest. His red robe was torn to shreds and fresh blood flowed from the wound. Duel. True spirits. Hua Buxi finally regained his senses after his chest was pierced by the spear. His eyes were filled with unwillingness as he felt the pain of his heart being pierced by the spear. dual true spirits. He never expected Long Yu to possess dual true spirit. Furthermore, one of the true spirits possessed the terrifying power to turn the entire area into the Yellow Springs path. Under such terrifying power, the ice doppelgangers that Hua Buxi had used to confuse his opponents were all shattered. His real body did not have the time to react and was instantly killed by Long Yu's spear. As Hua Buxi's skinny body under his red robe fell to the ground with blood flowing out of his body, the icy current in the area instantly melted and turned into water droplets. It was as if a rainstorm had fallen, drenching the entire valley. Flowers did not wither, but when faced with the dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit, they finally withered. As for Long Yu, he immediately stored the dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit into his dantian. When the dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit appeared, it was as if some kind of force was trying to take away my consciousness. What exactly is going on? Long Yu had a lingering fear in his heart. Although he had used the dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit to kill Hua Buxi in an instant, he did not feel good either. This dragon of the 9 underworld seal definitely has some kind of secret that is disadvantageous to me. Unfortunately, I have no idea what it is. Long Yu thought to himself. It seemed that in the future, if it wasn't necessary, he really couldn't release the 9 underworld's dragon's true soul phantom. If his consciousness was taken away, it would be too tragic. Hua Buxi was a second-layer true spirit realm expert who was stronger than me, but the killing intent I gathered after killing him was equivalent to that of 10 ordinary people. Long Yu immediately shifted his focus. After killing Hua Buxi, his 10,000 people kill spear art had reached the minor success stage. The 10,000 people kill spear art was a simple move that gathered killing intent. The stronger the killing intent, the stronger its power, and the wider its range. As for killing intent, it was impossible to cultivate it through cultivation. Only by killing people could it be formed. This is a spear art used to kill people. I'm afraid it won't be very useful in a duel. However, even the minor success stage of the 10,000 people kill spear art is comparable to the greater success stage of the heaven-suppressing spear art. As Long Yu thought to himself, he gripped his spear tightly and withdrew the true spirit of the heaven-suppressing sun back into his dantian. It was rare to see someone with 2 true spirits in the entire Great Tang Kingdom, let alone a martial cultivator who had just entered the true spirit realm. If someone else were to find out about it, he would definitely become the target of everyone. Not only would his secret be exposed, it would also bring him endless trouble. In the hidden valley, Hua Buxi lay on the ground covered in blood, while Long Yu stood still with his spear in hand. The scene was witnessed by the 3 experts who had just arrived from 3 different directions, causing them to be dumbfounded. Hua Buxi was killed by him? Bai Heng, Huafu, and Lu Yuan had arrived at the same time and surrounded Long Yu. At that moment the 3 of them were shocked. Chapter 112. Long Yu stood in the middle with the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand. Of course, he noticed that Bai Heng, Huafu, and Lu Yuan, the 3 great experts, had arrived at the same time and surrounded him. Long Yu had no chance of winning against 3 experts at level 2 of the true spirit realm at the same time. Junior brother Long Yu, you're lucky that you're fine. Otherwise, the Zhentian clan would have suffered a great loss. Bai Heng laughed and took the initiative to say, Hua Buxi, that demon is already dead. Come to my senior brother's side. Let's return to the heaven-suppressing sect together. I want to see who dares to stop us. Hua Buxi was no match for Long Yu. This meant that Long Yu definitely had the strength to fight against experts at level 2 of the true spirit realm. Bai Heng, Huafu, and Lu Yuan had all guessed this. Otherwise, they would not have seen Hua Buxi's corpse when they arrived. However, how trustworthy were Bai Heng's words? Although Bai Heng and Long Yu were both disciples of the Zhentian clan, Long Yu had experienced too many incidents where he was targeted by the disciples of the Zhentian clan. Long Yu laughed and said, The reason why I was able to kill Hua Buxi was because of the power of the lunar fragment. However, I realized that such a treasure is useless in my hand. Senior brother Baihang, I'll hand the lunar fragment to you now. As soon as he said this, Long Yu threw a stone at Baihang. The stone was covered by Long Yu's 9 nether chi. At first glance, it did feel like the lunar fragment that had just appeared from the ground. Other than Long Yu, there was no one present who had truly touched the extreme Yin fragment. In fact, they had only caught a glimpse of it before Long Yu snatched it away. Now that Long Yu had thrown out this gravel, Baihang's face was immediately filled with surprise, followed by joy. The extreme Yin fragment was actually going to be obtained just like that? Dream on! Huofu bellowed, and his entire body burst into flames. He turned into a flaming tornado and flew towards the gravel that was still in mid-air. You want to snatch it? Baihang's expression changed. Immediately, he brandished his sword and activated the Heaven's Might sword art. A wave of Heaven's Might enveloped Huofu. Senior brother Baihang, my cultivation level is too low. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you. I'll take my leave first. Seeing this, Long Yu pretended to be timid and turned to leave. Nether Dragon Leap. The netherworld chi swirled up a gust of air, allowing Long Yu to leap 1,000 feet away in an instant, leaving the valley in an instant. Huofu and Baihang were already engaged in battle, so it was impossible for them to immediately pull out and chase after him. The only person that Long Yu was worried about was Lu Yuan. This beautiful girl was very meticulous and would not be easily fooled. As expected, when Lu Yuan saw Long Yu's series of actions, she raised her eyebrows. Her body moved and she turned into a ray of sword light, chasing after Long Yu at an extremely fast speed. Kid, you're really full of tricks. If I hadn't been fooled by you twice, I would have really been fooled by you. Lu Yuan's cold voice could be heard. Obviously, she had guessed that Long Yu would not hand over the extreme Yin fragment so easily. Earlier, when Long Yu had escaped from her and she had chased after him until Long Yu disappeared, she knew that Long Yu was an extremely difficult person to deal with. Now that this guy had entered the true spirit realm and killed Hua Buxi, it was even more impossible for him to hand over the extreme Yin fragment. She had guessed correctly, but she did not know that if she had chased after him alone, Long Yu would not have been afraid at all. Unknowingly, Long Yu had consecutively executed the Dark Dragon Leap twice, and returned to the mine where the extreme Yin fragment had first appeared. The Emperor of Wolves had long been killed by Long Yu, turning into Yin Qi and dissipating. In the mine, there were only many corpses of martial cultivators left, exposed to the wind and the scorching sun. Where do you think you're going? Lu Yuan's cold voice came from in front of Long Yu. Then, a graceful figure dressed in black appeared in front of Long Yu. Lu Yuan was determined to catch up with Long Yu, so she exploded with a terrifying speed. Even if Long Yu executed the Dark Dragon Leap, she would still be able to catch up with him in an instant. Since you've caught up with me, I won't run anymore. Long Yu laughed and held the spear in his hand horizontally. Then, he released the heaven-suppressing territory and instantly enveloped Lu Yuan. You want to fight? I'll keep you company. Lu Yuan laughed coldly. 2 red short swords crossed in front of her. White light flashed, accompanied by a bewitching aura of heaven and earth, drifted out from her body. Long Yu's heart trembled. His entire being was actually attracted to Lu Yuan, causing him to have a strong urge to pull Lu Yuan's charming body into his embrace. This was an urge that was like a moth flying into a flame. The Alluring Beauty Pavilion's cultivation method, Alluring Beauty Phantom, contained the Phantom Law. Understanding the phantom laws of heaven and earth not only allowed Lu Yuan's speed to be extremely fast, but it also made her even more charming. Especially to men, she would have a fatal attraction. Coupled with her near-perfect looks and exquisite curves, once the phantom laws of heaven and earth were released, all men would be unable to extricate themselves. Even Long Yu, who had a strong immunity to women, was a little dazed at this moment. Flowing light sword shadow break. Lu Yuan took the opportunity to turn into a flowing light sword shadow and instantly appeared in front of Long Yu. The sharp flowing light sword shadow looked like it was about to cut off his head. Demon subduing Vajra shield. Long Yu suddenly regained his senses, but it was too late for him to dodge. He only had time to condense a faint golden light on the surface of his body. Then, he punched the flowing light sword shadow in front of him. With a loud bang, Long Yu was sent flying and fell to the ground. His fist, which had come into contact with the flowing light sword shadow, was drenched in blood. Luckily, the heaven-suppressing territory had weakened the power of Lu Yuan's attack. Otherwise, his entire arm would have been cut off by her. The phantom laws are actually so powerful. Long Yu had always thought that he was very strong-willed, but he still suffered under Lu Yuan's phantom laws of heaven and earth. He immediately knew that it was much more difficult to deal with Lu Yuan than Hua Buxi. Is that all? Lu Yuan walked over step by step and looked down at Long Yu, who had fallen to the ground. Her eyes were filled with disdain and disdain. She was not looking down on Long Yu's strength. Instead, she was mocking Long Yu for being dazed by her phantom laws of heaven and earth. This showed that Long Yu also had a psychological weakness. In reality, since Lu Yuan had started cultivating, Long Yu had woken up in the shortest time possible under her phantom laws of heaven and earth. Other young martial cultivators, even if they were at the same level as her, would be dazed for a few breaths' time under her phantom laws of heaven and earth. However, Long Yu's momentary daze had caused Lu Yuan to lose all goodwill towards Long Yu. Men are all the same. A cold smile hung on Lu Yuan's beautiful face. The pair of scarlet short swords in her hands flashed with a white flowing light again. Then, she slashed at Long Yu, who had fallen to the ground. Poof! The white flowing light of the sword instantly slashed at Long Yu's body. However, it was only an afterimage of Long Yu. 10,000 killer break. The tip of Long Yu's spear was filled with murderous intent. He appeared behind Lu Yuan in a flash and thrust his spear forward. The heaven-suppressing territory instantly spread out and enveloped Lu Yuan's delicate body. I was waiting for you to sneak up on me. Lu Yuan had long seen through Long Yu's trick. She waved the scarlet swords in her hands and turned around to draw two white flowing lights. She accurately pointed them at the tip of Long Yu's spear. There was a loud bang. Where the sword and spear met, an extremely violent airflow exploded and sent both of them flying. Immortal spirit, appear. Before Long Yu could heave a sigh of relief, Lu Yuan immediately released her immortal spirit. A shadow of a black butterfly's immortal spirit bloomed behind her. It was accompanied by an even more powerful phantom aura that enveloped the entire area, causing Lu Yuan's speed to become even faster. In just a flash, Lu Yuan's alluring figure in black appeared in front of Long Yu. The white flowing light of the sword slashed down. She's so fast. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He immediately turned into ghost chi and condensed his figure above Lu Yuan's head. At the same time, the shadow of the heaven-suppressing sun appeared behind him. A beam of light from the scorching sun integrated with the overbearing suppression laws. It immediately shone on the black butterfly's immortal spirit shadow. The black butterfly's shadow had nowhere to hide under the illumination of the heaven-suppressing sun. 10,000 killer break. Long Yu's spear swept horizontally. Accompanied by a strong murderous intent, it stabbed towards Lu Yuan's figure below. However, Lu Yuan's speed was too fast. Even though she was enveloped by Long Yu's heaven-suppressing territory, Lu Yuan's figure was like a ghost in the night. She appeared and disappeared in a flash. There was no way to track her. One could imagine how fast Lu Yuan's speed would be if she was not suppressed by the heaven-suppressing territory. Break! A delicate shout came from above Long Yu's head. Then, he felt a tremor in his dantian. Heaven-suppressing sun. Lu Yuan was actually attacking Long Yu's immortal spirit. A white flowing light of the flowing light of the flowing light of the sword struck the shadow of the heaven-suppressing Sunday. It immediately caused a corner of the heaven-suppressing sun to collapse. At the same time, Long Yu's dantian trembled. Lu Yuan's actions were undoubtedly forcing Long Yu to withdraw the shadow of the heaven-suppressing Sunday, otherwise, there was a possibility that she would completely destroy it. However, if Long Yu withdrew the heaven-suppressing sun, he would have no chance of winning at all. As for the immortal spirit of the dragon of 9 underworlds, in Long Yu's eyes, it was much more terrifying than Lu Yuan. After trying it once, he would not release it easily. You attacked my immortal spirit, so I'll attack yours too. Long Yu held the spear in his hand horizontally. 10,000 killer. One spear strike, kill 10,000 people. How can a mere black butterfly like you stop me? Killing intent spread from the tip of the spear. He gathered all the strength in his body and pierced through Lu Yuan's black butterfly immortal spirit. Stop! Lu Yuan's dantian trembled. Then, with a delicate shout, she charged at Long Yu with the 2 red swords in her hands. Lu Yuan did not want to see a battle between immortal spirits. In her heart, how could Long Yu's sun immortal spirit be compared to her butterfly immortal spirit? Since she could not force Long Yu to withdraw his immortal spirit, she would fight him head-on. She did not believe that she would not be a match for Long Yu with her strength. After all, Long Yu had only just entered the true spirit realm. Although she could feel that Long Yu's basic strength was not inferior to hers, she had enough reason to believe that her control and use of strength definitely surpassed Long Yu's. You were the one who attacked my immortal spirit first. If I stop just because you tell me to, wouldn't that be very embarrassing? Long Yu laughed and once again pierced a hole in the black butterfly immortal spirit. Then, he seized the opportunity to turn around and release layers of spear shadows to block Lu Yuan's attack. However, Lu Yuan's speed was too fast. Chapter 113. Lu Yuan was too fast. Long Yu did not have time to use any martial arts techniques to dodge. However, at that moment, Lu Yuan felt a strange force entangling her, hindering her from moving. At this critical moment, Long Yu suddenly released the withering swamp concept from the strange grass. It actually produced a miraculous effect, slowing Lu Yuan's next attack by half a beat. Dodge! Long Yu immediately dodged and stood on the ground not far away. Rumble! Lu Yuan's sword slammed into the ground where Long Yu had been, causing the entire mine to tremble. The sound of countless rocks rolling traveled into their ears. What's going on? Both of their expressions changed. This situation seemed to be somewhat unusual. Just like when the extreme Een fragment had appeared, one crack after another actually began to appear in the entire mine. But Long Yu could not care about anything else. Right now, his greatest enemy was Lu Yuan. Dragon Fist of the 9 Nether, mimicked the Yellow Springs path. Long Yu punched out. Immediately, the 9 Nether aura mimicked the Yellow Springs path and extended towards Lu Yuan. Unfortunately, Lu Yuan was too fast. Even the Yellow Springs path did not have time to envelop her. Explosive flow of the 9 Nether. Long Yu punched the ground. Immediately, the place where Lu Yuan had just appeared seemed to be connected to the Yellow Springs. A gust of 9 Nether aura immediately gushed out. But this time, Long Yu's sure kill move did not kill her. Originally, Lu Yuan did not have time to escape. But at the same time the 9 Nether aura pillar exploded, the mine beneath her feet suddenly cracked. Her alluring body, dressed in black, instantly sank into the cracks in the ground, just barely avoiding the explosive flow of the 9 Nether that Long Yu had condensed. Then, before Long Yu had time to regret, a crack appeared beneath his feet, causing him to stumble. Oh no, Dragon Leap of the 9 Nether! Long Yu reacted quickly. He gritted his teeth and wanted to leave. However, just as his spear swept out, wanting to use the airflow to sweep himself up, a large rock tumbled down from above his head, instantly smashing him into the depths of the crack in the ground. All he could see was darkness, and he fell into the crevice on the ground. He could only feel a terrifying qi rising from the ground, completely enveloping him. His body stumbled and fell deeper and deeper until he felt dizzy. Then, he finally hit the ground and fell heavily to the ground. How unlucky, I actually fell into the ground, Long Yu thought to himself. Enduring the dizziness in his head, he immediately became alert. This place had such dense extreme qi underground, it was definitely the place where the extreme yin fragment was produced. Long Yu could not predict what would happen in such a place. He sensed carefully and discovered that the Tai Yin Chi underground was in an extremely violent state. He did not know what had happened. Very quickly, he discovered that the closer the lunar chi was to his chest, the more violent it became. Could it be that the 9 underworlds chi caused the lunar chi to become violent, causing the entire mind to collapse? As Long Yu thought to himself, he immediately condensed the heaven-suppressing sun behind him. A burst of intense sunlight immediately lit up the entire underground. In this pitch-black underground, where one could not even see their own fingers, only by releasing the heaven-suppressing sun could he quickly see the specific situation around him. However, when the light of the heaven-suppressing sun shone on the entire underground, Long Yu was suddenly stunned. The place he was in was not an underground crevice at all, but a completely sealed ancient stone room. This stone room was very small, about the size of an ordinary person's resting room. However, the surrounding walls were all gray, and he did not know what material they were made of. The stone room was surrounded by the same gray walls. Long Yu was puzzled. Where did he fall from? He raised his head and clearly saw that the top of the stone room was also completely sealed by the gray walls. There were no loopholes at all. In the entire stone room, in addition to him, there was also a woman in a black suit lying unconscious on the ground. It was Lu Yuan, who had fallen into the underground with him. Seeing that she was unconscious, Long Yu did not pay attention to her. Instead, he immediately began to check the stone room. Break! Long Yu condensed the strength of his entire body and punched the gray wall on the side. Soon, he found that the gray wall was extremely sturdy. His punch did not move it at all. With my strength, no matter what, it is impossible to break it. Long Yu's face darkened. In this way, how could he leave this completely sealed stone room? The unknown was the most terrifying thing. Now, Long Yu had no idea who built this sealed stone room, nor did he know what would happen next. In the Heavenly Mandate continent there seemed to be many such mysterious places, but many of them were extremely dangerous places. After entering, there was no way one could come out alive. If this sealed stone room was also such a dangerous place, then what should he do? Long Yu cautiously began to check the entire sealed stone room to see if there was anything unusual. This was not difficult. Soon, he found that in the 4 walls of the stone room, there was a gray stone embedded. There was a total of 4 gray stones, and they were constantly emitting thick Tai Yin Chi. It's the Tai Yin fragment. When Long Yu found the 4 Tai Yin fragments, there was no need to mention how shocked he was. 1 Tai Yin fragment could cause 4 experts in the 2nd tier of the true spirit realm to fight endlessly for it. It could even create a true expert like Mo Fengming, who was ranked 3rd among the 9 young experts of the Tang Empire. But now, in the stone room where Long Yu was, there were 4 Tai Yin fragments all at once. Now, Long Yu finally had time to observe the Tai Yin fragments. With one look, he immediately understood why they were called lunar fragments. It was because these 4 gray stones looked like fragments that had fallen from a stone tablet. The 4 fragments all had edges and corners, so they were definitely man-made. The lunar fragment is actually a man-made object. However, who exactly is able to create such an object? Where is the complete stone tablet? Long Yu thought to himself as he began to study one of the Tai Yin fragments embedded in the wall. He reached out to touch it and soon found that the Tai Yin fragment could move. As long as he injected qi into it, and then pressed it hard, he could press it into the wall. What will happen if I press it? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He glanced sideways at Lu Yuan, who was unconscious in the middle of the stone room, and then turned his head back. No matter what, there was no other way, so he might as well give it a try. Long Yu made up his mind and pressed the Tai-yin fragment into the wall. Immediately after, Long Yu was on guard, afraid that some mechanism would suddenly appear and cause him to die without a burial ground. However, very quickly, he discovered that after he pressed down on the lunar fragment, there was no reaction from the entire stone room. Only the Tang Qi, which was already extremely thick, became even more violent. It surged towards his chest with all its might. Unfortunately, the 9 underworlds Qi was much stronger than the Tai-yin Qi. Once the Tai-yin Qi got close to Long Yu, it would be completely suppressed. Long Yu let go of the Tai-yin fragment, and found that the Tai-yin fragment protruded out of the wall again, as if it had never been touched. There are 4 Tai-yin fragments in this stone room. If I press them at the same time, will there be any difference? Long Yu thought to himself. But very quickly, he found that it was impossible for him to press all 4 Tai-yin fragments at the same time. A martial cultivator at the first level of the true spirit secret realm could, of course, release qi and use it to press the other 3 Tai-yin fragments from afar. However, Long Yu found that once the qi in his body came into contact with the yin qi in the stone room, it would immediately be corroded and devoured by the yin qi. It was impossible for him to release it so far to press a Tai-yin fragment. Qi would be devoured by the yin qi. Therefore, it was impossible to control an external object such as the 9 underworlds dragon spear from afar to press the Tai-yin fragment. Without the support of qi, it was impossible to control the Tai-yin fragment from afar, let alone press the Tai-yin fragment. Since normal qi doesn't work, what about the 9 underworlds qi? With a thought, Long Yu stood beside one of the Tai-yin fragments and tried to gather the 9 underworlds qi. He extended the 9 underworlds qi towards the other 3 Tai-yin fragment. The 9 underworlds qi would finally not be devoured by the yin qi. Did I succeed? Long Yu continued to work hard, but he soon found that with his current cultivation, he could only release 2 9 underworlds qi to press the other 2 Tai-yin fragments. There was only 1 Tai-yin fragment left, and he could not press it no matter what. The 9 underworlds qi that he extended was quickly surrounded by the Tai-yin qi, and the energy in Long Yu's body was quickly depleted. No, Long Yu frowned slightly. He temporarily gave up on the idea of pressing the 4 Tai-yin fragments at the same time and heaved a sigh of relief. He turned his head and looked at the unconscious Lu Yuan on the ground. He could not help but frown. I'm still 1 Tai-yin fragment away from pressing all 4 Tai-yin fragments. If I wake her up. Just as he was thinking about this, the unconscious Lu Yuan on the ground began to tremble all over. Long Yu had the 9 underworlds dragon seal to help him resist the Tai-yin qi in the stone room. However, Lu Yuan had no way of resisting the invasion of the Tai-yin qi. Since she was trapped in the stone room, Long Yu had not paid any attention to her. At this moment, her entire body was being corroded by the Tai-yin qi. Save her first. Long Yu frowned slightly. Although he was a little unwilling, he had no choice but to save her in the current situation. If he could not leave this damned place, he would definitely die in a few days. If he wanted to leave, he had to try and press all 4 Tai-yin fragments with Lu Yuan's help. Even if that did not work, the combined wisdom of 2 people would definitely be much better than Long Yu trying to think of a solution by himself. He acted as soon as he thought of it. Long Yu walked to Lu Yuan's side in a few steps and reached out to pull her soft body into his arms. Then, he activated the 9 underworlds dragon seal and sent the 9 underworlds qi into Lu Yuan's dantian and meridians. This was the only method that Long Yu could think of. He would send the 9 underworlds qi into her body and then expel all the Tai-yin qi. This was an extremely complicated process. If he was not careful, he could completely destroy Lu Yuan's cultivation. If Lu Yuan had not fallen unconscious, Long Yu would not have succeeded. However, Long Yu's speed seemed to be a little slow. At this moment, Lu Yuan's body was being corroded by the Tai Yin Qi. Her eyebrows had turned into frost, and her hair had turned into snow. Chapter 114. Corroded by the netherworld Qi, one would die like a dried corpse. Lunar Qi, on the other hand, was more beautiful. It would freeze a person into ice. However, no matter which one it was, the final outcome was death. Get rid of it! Seeing this, Long Yu gritted his teeth and activated the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, allowing more netherworld Qi to enter Lu Yuan's body. Lu Yuan's life force was rapidly draining away. Long Yu could not care less about damaging her meridians. He could only use the violent method of using the netherworld Qi to expel the lunar Qi from her body. Fortunately, Long Yu had made this decision early. As Lu Yuan's breathing became weaker and her heartbeat slowed, the lunar Qi in her body was finally completely expelled by Long Yu. Immediately after, Long Yu withdrew the 9 Yu Qi from her body, then created a layer of 9 Yu Qi barrier on the surface of her body, preventing the extreme Yin Qi from invading her body. In order to leave this sealed stone room, Long Yu had risked his life. Creating a barrier of netherworld Qi to protect Lu Yuan had almost used up all the energy in his body. However, he could only grit his teeth and persevere. Unless Lu Yuan woke up, once the barrier was removed, she would once again be corroded by the lunar Qi. If that happened, even the gods would not be able to save her. Time passed bit by bit. Long Yu was in torment at every moment. He felt that all the energy in his body was about to be sucked dry, causing him to feel dizzy. If it had been someone else, without such a strong will to live, they would not have been able to persevere like him. Lu Yuan, wake up! Long Yu hugged Lu Yuan's soft body, trying to give her some warmth. At this moment, Lu Yuan's body was as cold as ice. However, in Long Yu's embrace, she finally regained some warmth. Her consciousness gradually returned, and her body gradually regained some warmth. However, her frosty eyebrows had turned into snow-white hair, and she could not recover no matter what. Lu Yuan was currently dressed in black. Her white hair hung down to her waist, and even her beautiful eyebrows had turned the color of frost. The erosion of the Tai Yin Qi caused her entire appearance to change drastically. As a result, she looked even colder than before. Her charm towards men did not decrease at all. Instead, it increased by a few notches. Her snow-white hair and frosty eyebrows gave her a sense of distance. It was this sense of distance that gave her a unique charm and attractiveness. As her body temperature gradually rose, she finally opened her starry eyes and saw Long Yu in his arms. Her expression changed, and she felt her body weaken. She didn't even have the strength to push Long Yu away. Lu Yuan's body, which had been corroded by the lunar Qi, felt like she had just recovered from a serious illness. Right now, she was extremely fragile. "You, where are we?" Lu Yuan frowned. Her woman's intuition told her that the surrounding atmosphere was strange. It was a completely enclosed stone chamber. Long Yu was hugging her tightly. Her body was covered with a layer of 9 underworlds Qi, protecting her and separating her from the Tai Yin Qi in the stone chamber. She could keenly sense that Long Yu was not in a good state. Perhaps she could kill Long Yu on the spot with a casual strike. However, if she killed Long Yu now, she would die as well. She was not stupid. Of course, she would not do that. She knew that Long Yu definitely had a reason for protecting her. Otherwise, it would be good enough if he did not kill her. Why would he save her? Don't move. Listen to me. Long Yu's voice was incomparably deep and low. That was because he truly did not wish to waste his remaining strength on speaking at a volume level. We are now in a completely enclosed stone chamber. The walls of the stone chamber are very sturdy. I have not found a way to escape. There are 4 Tai Yin fragments on the 4 walls. You can infuse profound qi into them, and then press them all into the wall. I can't do it alone. You will be responsible for one of them. Let's work together and try pressing them all in. Don't have any other ideas. Without me, you will definitely not live for more than 2 hours. Think about it carefully. After Long Yu finished speaking, he waited for Lu Yuan's reply. His words were concise, but he had already said what needed to be said. As long as Lu Yuan was not stupid, she would definitely understand what he meant. There's no need to think about it. Let's begin. Lu Yuan found it difficult to speak, but she immediately made a decision. She believed that Long Yu had not lied to her. After all, she had been unconscious for so long. If Long Yu had wanted to do something to her, he would have had enough time to do so. Seeing that Long Yu did not seem to be able to hold on for much longer, she naturally would not waste any more time. All right. You will be responsible for this Tai-yin fragment. Infuse profound qi into it and press it into the wall. Long Yu extended his hand and pointed at the lunar fragment closest to him as he spoke with a solemn expression. Lu Yuan nodded and stood up with difficulty. Her snow-white hair flowed down to her waist, reflecting the astonished look in her star-like eyes. Her hair had actually turned snow-white? But now was not the time to think about this. She regained her senses and began to wonder. If she was responsible for pressing this Tai-yin fragment alone, then how could Long Yu press 3 Tai-yin fragments? She secretly tried and found that once the profound qi in her body left her body, it would immediately be corroded and swallowed by the thick Tai-yin qi in the stone room. It was impossible to press the Tai-yin fragment remotely. But very quickly she found out the answer. Hold on for a while. After Long Yu finished speaking, he finally removed the layer of netherworld qi barrier on the surface of his body. Then, with a leap, he arrived at the wall opposite Lu Yuan. He easily pressed the extreme yin fragment into the wall. Without the Jiu-Yu qi barrier, the Tai-yin qi immediately invaded Lu Yuan's body again. This time, she was not in a comatose state, so she could grit her teeth and use all her strength to resist the corrosion of the Tai-yin qi. At the same time, she condensed profound qi between her white fingers and pressed the Tai-yin fragment into the wall. Then, under the invasion of the Tai-yin qi, she tilted her pretty face and carefully observed Long Yu. In her view, Long Yu pressed one hand against the wall and extended 2 fingers with the other hand. A strange pitch-black ripple was released from his fingers and connected to the other 2 walls. After that, the 2 pitch-black ripples instantly pressed down the moon fragments on the 2 walls. This strange pitch-black power is unique to him. I've never seen it before and I don't know what kind of power it is to make me feel the aura of the Yellow Springs. Lu Yuan pondered as she remained vigilant of what could happen at any time. When the Tai-yin fragments on the 4 walls of the stone room were pressed into the walls, the entire stone room suddenly trembled. Then, the thick Tai-yin qi in the stone room seemed to be attracted by something and quickly gathered towards the center of the stone room. Something's happening. Long Yu's face lit up with joy. However, all the strength in his body had been used up and he was not in a good state. Luckily, he knew that Lu Yuan did not have any fighting strength now. Otherwise, he would have to be on his guard against her. The 2 of them stood on the 2 sides of the stone room and looked towards the center of the stone room. The Tai-yin qi in the entire sealed stone room gathered towards the center of the stone room and actually began to condense, gradually forming a solid object. What could it be? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat as he carefully observed the scene. Under their gazes, all the Tai-yin qi completely condensed and actually formed a stone tablet in the center of the stone room that was missing a few corners. It's a stone tablet. Long Yu and Lu Yuan were stunned at the same time. This stone tablet was about 5 feet tall, which was about a head shorter than Long Yu. It emitted endless Tai-yin qi and stood erect in the center of the stone room. As the stone tablet formed, the 4 Tai-yin fragments that were originally embedded in the 4 walls all turned into Tai-yin Qi and instantly condensed on the stone tablet in the center, turning into its 4 corners. All the Tai-yin Qi condensed together and actually formed a stone tablet. Is this stone tablet the complete Tai-yin fragment? If I succeed, I might be able to comprehend an extremely strong power from it. As Long Yu thought this, he raised his head to look at Lu Yuan, only to find that the beautiful girl was also looking at him. Clearly, both of them had the same thought. However, because the two of them could not use their full strength, they did not dare to make any moves and could only stay vigilant. Although Long Yu had just saved Lu Yuan, who knew if Lu Yuan would admit to it or not? And to Lu Yuan, Long Yu had only saved her to press down the Tai-yin fragment on the wall. Faced with the temptation of a precious treasure, it was very likely that he would attack her. Moreover, other than the threat of the other party, there was also the threat of the stone tablet itself. After all, neither of them knew what kind of existence the stone tablet was. Would there be any danger if they approached it? However, just as the two of them stood still and watched, something strange happened. They saw that the stone tablet was originally erected in the center of the stone room, but immediately after, the two of them realized that the stone tablet was flying towards them. The stone tablet has split. The two of them were shocked at the same time. The stone tablet formed from Tai-yin Qi actually split into 2 halves, each flying towards the two of them. Got it. Long Yu was a little braver. Seeing this, he directly leaped up and caught the half of the stone tablet in his hands. Tai-yin Heaven Tablet. The moment he touched the half of the stone tablet, these 4 words rang in Long Yu's mind. Tai-yin Heaven Tablet? Long Yu held the half of the stone tablet tightly in one hand and stood on the ground, his brows slightly furrowed. This stone was formed from Tai-yin Qi, so the word Tai-yin was something that Long Yu could understand. However, what did the 2 words, Heaven Tablet, mean? Could it be that this so-called Tai-yin Heaven Tablet was a treasure that was naturally formed in this world? Such an exquisitely carved stone tablet, although there are no words carved on it, it is obvious that it was chiseled. How could it be a treasure that was naturally formed? Long Yu suddenly thought about it and did not quite understand. However, immediately after, he remembered that on this heavenly mandate continent, even the weapons used by martial arts cultivators could develop their own consciousness. Even the wolf formed from Tai-yin Qi had its own consciousness. If this was the case, if this world had its own consciousness, then wouldn't it be normal to create such a stone tablet treasure? Chapter 115. After grabbing the half of the lunar heaven tablet, Long Yu raised his head and looked at Lu Yuan. He saw that she was also holding the other half of the lunar heaven tablet in her hands. The two of them looked at each other and saw the doubt in each other's eyes. The treasure seemed to be in their hands. How could they leave now? Also, such a large half of the lunar heaven tablet was filled with endless lunar qi. If they brought it to the outside world, wouldn't they be announcing to others that they had a treasure and wanted them to come and snatch it? Although Lu Yuan had reached the 2nd level of the true spirit realm, in the entire Tang Kingdom, it was really nothing. She couldn't even make it into the 9 great young experts, let alone the more powerful experts of the older generation. Although there was only half of such a large lunar heaven tablet, it would definitely attract the attention of some true experts, such as the sect leaders of the 7 sections. If these experts tried to snatch it, Lu Yuan had no chance of winning. She could only give up this half of the lunar heaven tablet. However, just as Long Yu and Lu Yuan were thinking about this, the half of the lunar heaven tablet in their hands suddenly shrunk to the size of a palm. The shrunken lunar heaven tablet was like a small jade pendant. Not only was it easy to carry, but it also contained the endless lunar qi. From the outside, no one could tell that it was a treasure. The two of them looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Immediately, both of them felt a strange power enveloping them. Then, their vision blurred, and the entire grayish-white stone room disappeared. When they opened their eyes again, the sky was clear. The two of them had left the gray stone room and arrived at the collapsed mine. Long Yu appeared on the eastern mountain peak, his black robe standing upright. Lu Yuan appeared on the western side. Her black robe revealed her graceful figure. Her snow-white hair hung down to her waist. From afar, she looked cold and elegant. The two of them looked at the center of the mine and saw that there were no signs of the mine collapsing. Even the corpses of the martial cultivators that had died in the mine had disappeared. The mine was restored to its original appearance, and even the yin qi began to dissipate rapidly. Under the blazing sun, the yin qi in the entire mine quickly evaporated. Not long after, the mine became like any other ordinary area, no longer shrouded in yin qi and filled with dense ghost qi. This place might soon no longer be a yin or vein. This might be a great loss to the Tang Empire, but to Long Yu and Lu Yuan it was a great gain. Although both sides had only obtained half a piece of the lunar heaven tablet, this half definitely contained a powerful energy. If one could comprehend it, who knew how much their strength would increase? Whether it was Long Yu or Lu Yuan, the two of them would definitely not be stupid enough to spread the news. After all, the two of them were the ones who benefited from this. If news of this were to spread, it wouldn't benefit either of them. Lu Yuan turned around. Her slender body turned into a white sword shadow and quickly left. After a while, she disappeared without a trace. Long Yu looked at her alluring back and thought to himself, previously, Lu Yuan stopped Huofu for me, so I owe her a favor. But this time, I saved her life in the lunar stone room, so I've repaid the favor. As for both sides obtaining half of the lunar heaven tablet, they were even. Whether it was Long Yu or Lu Yuan, both of them definitely wanted to monopolize the treasures. However, both of them were exhausted, and neither of them wanted to fight again. Otherwise, if they were seen by others, wouldn't they be the ones to reap the benefits? After Lu Yuan left, Long Yu placed the shrunken half of the lunar heaven tablet into his robes and turned to leave. The direction he was heading in was naturally where the Ling family villa was. Previously, I let Ling Han take away the lunar fragment. I wonder how he is now. As Long Yu thought, he was a little anxious. Also, he used a stone fragment and fused it with the Nine Hells Qi, pretending to be a lunar fragment to deceive Huofu and Baihang, causing them to fight. I wonder how Huofu and Baihang are now? Long Yu walked forward quickly, but he did not use the dark dragon leap. Because the profound qi in his body was used up, he could only use wind flash, ghost flash, and other movement techniques that did not use up much energy. In the process of heading towards the Ling family villa, Long Yu activated his dantian and quickly recovered the profound qi in his body. When he saw the large stretch of buildings in the Ling family villa from afar, he finally recovered most of the profound qi. But at this time, he suddenly felt a battle erupt not far away. A tyrannical aura of a true soul exploded from the front. What's going on? Long Yu's heart jumped and he hurriedly ran over. Very quickly, he arrived at the place where the battle erupted, and quietly hid behind a small hill. He glanced over, and the scene that entered his eyes made the flames of anger in his heart rise with a whoosh. In the field, Lu Guanming and Ling Han were struggling to hold on. Both of them had many wounds on their bodies, and one of Lu Guanming's arms was dripping with fresh blood. And the two of them were facing the fifth core disciple of the Zhentian clan, Yao Yan. Yao Yan, who had been scared off by Huofu and Xiahou Tianjie, was now blocking the way back to the Ling family villa and attacking Ling Han and Lu Guanming. As for Ling Yue, she stood at the side, holding the lunar fragment in her hand. She bit her lips hard and her face was pale. With her martial realm, she was completely useless in front of Yao Yan. Seeing Lu Guanming and Ling Han blocking in front of her, it was easy to imagine how she felt in her heart. Why are you still not handing over the treasure? On account that we are all disciples of the Zhentian clan, I will not kill you, but if the two of you continue to resist, I will not be merciful. Yao Yan's eyebrows were like hooks, and his nose was high. He threatened Ling Han and Lu Guanming with a sinister expression. "You wish." Lu Guanming spat and said with a disdainful expression, "Trash like you, what right do you have to obtain the treasure that Brother Long risked his life to obtain? Even if I, Lu Guanming, put my life on the line, I will not let you get what you want. Kill." Meanwhile, Ling Han did not say a single word of nonsense. All of a sudden, he released a black metal chain, which instantly entangled Yao Yan. This black metal chain was the combat weapon that he had obtained from Lu Mingxian in ancient ginseng forest. While the other party was not paying attention, Ling Han threw out the metal chain, and it actually entangled Yao Yan. "Insignificant trick. With just the two of you, how can you possibly be a match for me, Yao Yan?" Yao Yan sneered. "I will let you know that the gap between true spirits is insurmountable." Following his words, the true spirit phantom of a heaven-suppressing round shield appeared behind him. Following that, a terrifying suppressive force descended and shattered the black metal chain into pieces. This scene caused Ling Han's expression to change. He had exhausted all his means, and now even the black metal chain had been shattered by Yao Yan. Yao Yan had already condensed his true spirit. The power of his true spirit was simply too strong. Ling Han could not help but think of a figure, Long Yu. How could that guy kill an expert at the first level of the true spirit realm with the power of the 9th level of the martial Dao? This was simply inconceivable. Just as he was thinking about this, a suppressive force that was even stronger than the one released by Yao Yan instantly descended from the sky. Following that, a figure that everyone was familiar with descended, black-clothed, holding the 9 nether dragon spear. Long Yu. Long Yu condensed his heaven-suppressing domain and instantly enveloped Yao Yan. The terrifying pressure made Yao Yan feel like he was being crushed by a mountain. His eyes were bloodshot and he could not believe it. Long Yu. He actually condensed his true spirit. Yao Yan wanted to say this sentence, and then immediately wanted to say something, but Long Yu did not give him any chance at all. Attacking a fellow disciple and forsaking righteousness at the sight of profit, you deserve to die. Long Yu shouted and then swept the 9 nether dragon spear. A dense killing intent gathered at the tip of the spear. 10,000 slaughter, 1 spear strike, kill 10,000 people. The 10,000 people kill spear art, which had reached the minor completion realm, was displayed by Long Yu. Yao Yan only felt a cold light flash in front of him. Being enveloped by the heaven-suppressing domain, he did not have the slightest ability to resist. The spear pierced through his chest and shattered his heart meridians. Yao Yan dead. With just one move, Long Yu killed Yao Yan. The 5th-ranked core disciple of the Zhentian clan died just like that. Right now, Long Yu only needed one move to deal with an opponent at the first level of the true spirit secret realm. From the moment Long Yu appeared to the moment Yao Yan's heart meridians shattered, only a moment had passed. To Yao Yan, this moment was like falling from heaven to hell. Originally, he thought that he would be able to snatch the lunar fragment and become the biggest winner of this operation. But in the end, he was killed by Long Yu with one move and even lost his life. However, to Ling Han, Lu Guanming, and Ling Yue, this moment was like going from hell to heaven. "Brother Long, you're here." Lu Guanming's black face was filled with excitement. The 3 of them had escaped the mine with the lunar fragment and naturally knew that Long Yu would be chased by the 4 experts and had been worried about him. Now that they saw a perfectly fine Long Yu appear in front of them, how could they not be happy? Not to mention that the current Long Yu had already condensed his true spirit and stepped into the true spirit secret realm. Once upon a time, Long Yu's martial Dao realm was even lower than Ling Han's. But now, he had far surpassed Ling Han and left him in the dust. "I'm here. Are you guys alright?" Long Yu put away the 9 nether dragon spear and smiled faintly. Yao Yan's corpse was lying on the ground with his eyes wide open, kicking up a cloud of dust. But no one paid attention to him. This Yao Yen had forgotten his principles at the sight of profit. Now that he had died under Long Yu's spear, he deserved to die. "I'm fine, it's just old Lu." Ling Han frowned slightly and hurriedly supported Lu Guanming. "Haha, I'm fine. Wasn't it just a palm strike from this beast and some internal injuries? I'll be fine after resting for a while." Lu Guanming laughed loudly. But then, the black-faced man closed his eyes and fainted just like that. Chapter 116. In the Ling family mountain villa, they naturally could not obtain enough elixirs to heal Lu Guanming. Now, they could only return to the Zhentian clan. Ling Han carried Lu Guanming and walked with Long Yu and Ling Yue in the direction of the Ling family mountain villa in search of 3 horses. Even though their martial realms were not low, it was better to ride horses for a long journey. This lunar fragment Ling Yue walked side by side with Long Yu. She held the lunar fragment in her hand and wanted to return it to Long Yu. "Since I gave it to you, it is yours. There is no need to consider me." Long Yu smiled faintly. He already had half of the lunar heavenly tablet. The lunar chi contained within it was probably thousands of times more than the lunar fragment. Under these circumstances, what use did he have for the lunar fragment? Of course, the matter of the lunar heaven tablet could be considered a secret shared between him and Lu Yuan. Even if it was Ling Han and the others, he could not tell them. Otherwise, it would very easily attract a fatal disaster, and that would be harming them. Hearing Long Yu say he did not want it, Ling Yue's beautiful eyes flashed with surprise. This lunar fragment was a treasure that even experts at the 2nd level of the true spirit realm coveted. Long Yu actually said he did not want it? "Brother Long, you risked your life to obtain this item. We are only protecting it. How can we take it for ourselves?" Ling Han said with a serious expression. "Brother Long, your cultivation talent is better than ours. In your hands, this lunar fragment will definitely be much more useful than in our hands. There is no need to say more. It is yours." Long Yu smiled. "There is no need to stand on ceremony between brothers. I, Long Yu, do not lack this lunar fragment." Even if he had not obtained the half of the lunar heavenly tablet, Long Yu would not have wanted Ling Han's item. In the beginning, he had no interest in the lunar fragment. He had only come here because of Ling Han's invitation. However, he had not thought that so many things would happen. He had even condensed his true spirit in the mine, and even had a contest with an elite like Lu Yuan. Hearing Long Yu's words, Ling Han's face immediately became serious. "Brother Long, in this life, if there's anything that I, Ling Han, can do, please send me." He was not prepared to reject the extreme Yin fragment. Ling Han understood the meaning behind Long Yu's words. He did not lack this lunar fragment. That meant that Long Yu had a greater harvest in this operation. This reward was probably condensing his true spirit and stepping into the true spirit realm. Ling Han still wanted to take back the Ling family manor that originally belonged to his father from Ling Tianba. How could he do that without strength? Just based on his current martial arts realm, it was completely wishful thinking. However, if he possessed the lunar fragment, this matter would perhaps become much simpler. Taking back the Ling family manor was a vow that Ling Han had made after his father's death 10 years ago. Long Yu had given him the lunar fragment so that he could complete his vow faster. To him, this was of great significance. "I can't say that I need anything, but if there are any problems as a brother, I will naturally do my best," Long Yu said. "Furthermore, didn't Senior Ling Han give me the superior ancient ginseng in the ancient ginseng forest?" He could feel Ling Han's sincerity towards him. Since that was the case, he would repay him with sincerity. All right, you two, stop talking nonsense. We've arrived at the Ling family manor. Hurry up and find 3 horses to hurry back to the Zhentian clan." Ling Yu clearly did not understand the passion of men. Her words ruined the mood as she pointed at the large group of buildings in front of them. Ling Han and Long Yu looked at each other and smiled. Then, they quickly moved forward. Soon, they arrived at the Ling family manor. Ling Yu ran to the stables and quickly came out in disappointment. There's not a single horse left. We saw Yi Yan and Lu Shuqing leave earlier. They probably took the last 2 horses from the Ling family. These words made Long Yu frown slightly. The disturbance caused by the lunar fragment this time had a great impact on the Ling family manor. Not long after, the impact would definitely become even greater. Even the entire mine would be cleared of Yin energy. And when those who came to obtain the lunar fragment wanted to leave, they would undoubtedly come to the Ling family manor to get horses. This way, the 7 or 8 horses that the Ling family manor raised would not be enough. Let's go take a look at other places. Long Yu quickly made a decision and turned to leave. If they wasted too much time looking for horses, Lu Guanming's injuries would probably worsen. At that time, it would be troublesome. However, just as he turned, he heard a familiar female voice from not far away. Long Yu, there are 2 horses here. Since you're in a hurry to leave, I'll let you have them first. A crisp and pleasant young girl's voice traveled into everyone's ears. Everyone looked toward the source of the voice and saw a beautiful young girl with waist-length snow-white hair. She seemed to be passing by on a white horse. Lu Yuan. Everyone recognized him at a glance. Apart from Lu Yuan, there was another young girl, Exhilarating. She was Lu Yuan's junior sister. Both of them were riding on horses that they had brought with them from the Qingqing pavilion. Lu Yuan? Why did her hair and eyebrows turn white? Ling Han and Ling Yu were instantly puzzled. Furthermore, did Lu Yuan and Long Yu know each other? She was actually willing to let him have 2 horses. Could it be that after they left with the lunar fragment, something happened between Long Yu and Lu Yuan? Immediately, a trace of wariness appeared in Ling Han's eyes as he looked at Lu Yuan. Senior sister, you're not joking, are you? Xinya's face was full of hatred as she glared at Long Yu. Didn't this brat snatch the lunar fragment? Senior sister, you still want to lend your beloved horse to him. When Long Yu heard that, he knew that Lu Yuan did not tell Xinya about the half-lunar heavenly tablet. Obviously, both of them knew very well in their hearts that once this matter was revealed, it would bring about endless trouble. Lu Yuan did not say anything in response to Xinya's question. She only smiled faintly and jumped off the horse. She stroked the smooth fur of the snow-white horse and said softly, "Send him back to the Jintian clan and then come back to find me. Don't forget." This snow-white horse was raised by Lu Yuan since it was young. Even so, she was still willing to lend it to Long Yu. This scene made Ling Han, Ling Yu, and Xinya feel even more incredulous. What exactly happened between Long Yu and Lu Yuan? In fact, when Xinya saw Lu Yuan and saw her snow-white hair and snow-white eyebrows, she immediately raised her question. Unfortunately, Lu Yuan didn't say anything important. She only said that she fought with Long Yu and there was no clear winner. The situation before her made Xinya even more puzzled. However, since Lu Yuan said that she fought with Long Yu and there was no clear winner, it must be true. At this moment, Xinya was a little suspicious. Did senior sister have some special feelings for this Long Yu? Otherwise, she had never seen her lend her beloved horse to someone else. But senior sister Lu Yuan even rejected the invitation of Major General Long of the Tang Empire. Could it be that this Long Yu is even more outstanding than Major General Long? Xinya could not understand. However, she had always listened to Lu Yuan. Disregarding everything else, she could condense her true spirit largely because of Lu Yuan's help. Now that Lu Yuan did not want to tell her something, she had no right to say anything. Since senior sister has decided, then so be it. However, we only have 2 horses, and they have 4 people. How are we going to ride them? Xinya jumped off the horse and looked at Long Yu and the other 3 people. I don't care. Lu Yuan's star-like eyes flashed with a hint of indifference. All right, let's go. We'll look for horses somewhere else. We'll find one if we spend some time. After saying this, she turned around and left with exhilarating. From the beginning to the end, Long Yu did not say a word. He was also very puzzled. Why was Lu Yuan willing to lend him the horse? However, no matter what, they did not have to waste time looking for horses anymore. Consider it as me owing you again. Long Yu chuckled. As he watched Lu Yuan's silhouette disappear from his sight, he focused his gaze on the snow-white horse. The snow-white horse was obviously very obedient to Lu Yuan. Although it was a little unwilling after Lu Yuan left, it took the initiative to walk towards Long Yu. As for Exhilarating's horse, it was not so obedient. Ling Han did not think much. He carried Lu Guanming and rode on Exhilarating's horse. There are only 2 horses. You can ride with Brother Long. Ling Han laughed loudly, spurred his horse around, and began to gallop away. Lu Guanming was injured and could not delay for too long. Long Yu rode on Lu Yuan's white horse and let Ling Yu's petite body sit in front. Then, he urged the horse to gallop too. Why do I feel like Ling Han is up to something? Long Yu held the reins and hugged Ling Yue in his arms. No matter how he thought about it, something was wrong. That Ling Han actually threw his sister into his arms just like that? Moreover, it seemed like he could not wait. Unbeknownst to him, Ling Han had always admired Long Yu very much, and felt that Long Yu was someone he could confide in. Now that he had seen Long Yu's incomparably terrifying talent, he naturally knew that Long Yu would have great achievements in the future. He only had one sister, Ling Yue, and his sister was going to marry sooner or later. Now that such an outstanding fellow like Long Yu had appeared, how could he not think about his sister's future? Originally, Ling Han was not anxious. However, now that Lu Yuan had appeared and borrowed a horse, he felt a sense of danger. If the opponent was Lu Yuan, then his sister had no chance of winning at all. Because of this, Ling Han deliberately carried Lu Guanming and rode away on a horse. He purposely let Ling Yue and Long Yu share a horse to create an opportunity for her. Sister, as your brother, I can only help you this much. Ling Han urged the horse forward, extremely emotional. Meanwhile, Long Yu and Ling Yue sat together on Lu Yuan's horse and followed closely behind them. As the snow-white horse galloped, their bodies would naturally touch each other. This caused Ling Yue's face to turn slightly red. Brother, do you want to die? Ling Yue naturally knew her brother's plan and was filled with hatred. Other than Ling Yue, there was another girl who was also filled with hatred. At the top of a pavilion in the Ling family villa, Lu Yuan was dressed in black, her snow-white hair flowing in the wind. Her starry eyes reflected the scene of Long Yu and Ling Yue riding her snow-white horse and leaving the Ling family villa together. This caused a trace of hatred to appear on her face. You, Long Yu, actually riding my beloved horse with another girl? Chapter 117. They galloped all the way. After 2 days, Long Yu and the others finally arrived at the Zhentian clan and got off the horse at the entrance of the Suppression Canyon. Ling Yue jumped off the white horse and ran away with a red face, leaving Long Yu feeling a little awkward. He also dismounted from his horse. As soon as he saw the snow-white horse, he thought of Lu Yuan's snow-white long hair and her exquisite figure. It gave him a strange feeling. Lu Yuan might have borrowed the horse to express something, but Long Yu was not sure. At this time, it was better not to think too much, lest he wasted his feelings. The white horse did not stop outside the Suppression Canyon for long. It turned around and ran away, clearly returning to the Qingqing Pavilion to find Lu Yuan. Let's go find Elder Bai and ask for medicine. 2 days have passed, and senior brother Lu still hasn't woken up. His injuries are not light, Long Yu said as he followed Ling Han. And Brother Long, you seem to be quite familiar with Elder Bai. I'll leave this matter to you. Ling Han said solemnly. I'll try my best, Long Yu said. Even he could not guarantee that he would be able to get the elixir from Elder Bai. After all, he was just a junior. Although Elder Bai seemed to admire him, it was one thing to take out the elixir to save his friend. Ling Han and Ling Yu watched as Long Yu carried the unconscious Lu Guanming up the mountain path that led to the top of the canyon. At the fork in the road, Ling Han and Ling Yu watched Long Yu's back. "Sister, what do you think of Brother Long? These 2 days, he didn't do anything to you on horseback, did he?" Ling Han asked eagerly. "Brother, what are you thinking?" Ling Yue glared at him. "I'm your sister. How can you push your sister into someone else's arms?" "Brother Long is not someone else. I want him to be my brother-in-law," Ling Han said with a serious expression. "You?" Ling Yue's face turned red with anger. She clenched her fists but did not know what to say. In the end, she could only turn around and leave. "Hey Yu, I'm doing this for your own good. Didn't you see that Lu Yuan from the tumultuous pavilion lent her beloved horse to Brother Long? If we don't take the initiative to attack, it's very likely that Brother Long will be snatched away." Ling Han hurriedly chased after Ling Yue, wanting to reason with her. "You're the one who's afraid he'll be taken away, aren't you? If you want to be with him, you can go yourself." Ling Yu blushed and refused to turn around. When Ling Han heard this, he stumbled and knelt down in front of his sister. Long Yu brought Lu Guanming to the top of the canyon. Master Bai and Master He were still playing a game of chess. They didn't even look at Long Yu when they saw him. Only the pretty girl, Liao Lele, who was wearing a blue robe, seemed a little unhappy as she welcomed him. "Long Yu, this is the pill that Master told me to give you. It can heal this senior brother's injuries." After saying this, Liao Lele tossed a small porcelain bottle to Long Yu. Long Yu caught the small porcelain bottle with a joyful expression. "Thank you, Senior Bai. Master said that you don't need to thank him. He will naturally ask for this favor from Elder Yu," Liao Lele said expressionlessly. Long Yu thought in his heart, so it turns out that Elder Bai only gave him this pill because of Elder Yu Shuiyun. However, he was a little curious. This Liao Lele had always been carefree in the past. Why did he seem to have encountered something unhappy now? "Liao Lele, what's wrong? Did someone bully you?" Long Yu asked while feeling a little strange. This Liao Lele had been cultivating with Master Bai and had been staying at the top of the canyon. She shouldn't have been bullied by anyone, right? "No one bullied me." Liao Lele pursed her lips. "It's just that someone went out and hooked up with quite a few girls." How carefree. Hooked up with quite a few girls? Long Yu was startled. Is he talking about me? Could it be that Liao Lele was jealous? But since when did he hook up with any girls? Still trying to act dumb? Liao Lele looked at Long Yu's expression and harumphed. "My master said that the white horse you rode back is a breed unique to the Qingqing Pavilion. It possesses quite a bit of intelligence, and can even cultivate Xian Qi and condense a true spirit. The Qingqing Pavilion is full of women. Which beauty from the Qingqing Pavilion did you hook up with to get her to lend you her beloved horse?" Hearing this, Long Yu was a little surprised. Lu Yuan's snow-white horse possessed quite a bit of intelligence and could cultivate Xian Qi and condense a true spirit. With Xin Yue's cultivation, she was definitely one of the top core disciples in the Qingqing Pavilion. However, even she did not have such a horse. Only the most important people in the Qingqing Pavilion would have such a horse. Long Yu did not respond to Liao Lele's words because he did not know how to explain it. Moreover, why should he explain it? It's only been a few days and you've already condensed a true spirit. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Liao Lele did not dwell on this question. Instead, he sized up Long Yu and said, "TSK, impressive, impressive. Can't judge a book by its cover?" Long Yu thought to himself, "Do I not look like someone who can condense a true spirit? That's really sad." But now was not the time for idle chatter. Long Yu laid Lu Guanming's body on the ground and took the cup of water that Liao Lele brought over. He opened the bottle and took out the elixir, mixed it with water, and fed it into Lu Guanming's mouth. Lu Guanming's injuries were internal. If he did not consume the elixir, his injuries would definitely worsen. But after consuming the elixir, he would be fine after resting for a while. Then, Long Yu bade farewell to Liao Lele and the Black and White Elders and left the Heaven Suppression Canyon with Lu Guanming. He wanted to bring Lu Guanming to Yushueyun and find the sect leader, Bai Yun. On the way back, Ling Han told him that in the Zhentian clan, once a disciple condensed a true spirit, it would be a great event worthy of celebration. Firstly, the sect would give the disciple a high-ranked combat weapon as a reward. Secondly, there would be an additional month of cultivation time in the valley. Most importantly, the sect would obtain the identity token of a true spirit realm disciple and head to the second floor of the Elder's Pavilion to pick a spiritual martial skill to cultivate. Every disciple who condensed a true spirit was extremely precious to the 7 sects of the Great Tang Kingdom. Most of the sect's cultivation resources were given to the disciples in the true spirit realm. Of course, other than that, the most important thing was that the sect leader would personally guide them on the path of cultivation after they stepped into the true spirit realm. Regarding this, Long Yu was rather concerned. After all, cultivation was not a straight path, but a correct path that had been discovered by countless people. The experience of a senior was extremely important. While Long Yu sent Lu Guanming back to the Elder's Pavilion to search for Yushueyun and Bai Yun, a huge matter related to Long Yu happened in the Great Tang Kingdom's imperial city. Lu Mingqing of the imperial city's Lu family brought Wang Tianjua, who had been crippled by Long Yu, back to the imperial city. Due to the death of the 2 true spirit realm guards, LV Taogua and Luo Liangfu, the Wang family's housekeeper, Gu Hebo, personally took care of this matter. Gu Hebo was an important figure in the Wang family, unlike Wang Tianjua and Lu Mingqing, who were juniors. In the entire Wang family, Gu Hebo had considerable authority. It could be said that if Gu Hebo was angered, the entire imperial city would be shaken. From this, it could be seen that Gu Hebo's power was not small, and the people he sent were much stronger than Lu Mingqing. He immediately gave the order to thoroughly investigate Long Yu's identity. Not only did he send people to the Ling family's villa, he also listened to Wang Tianjua's words. He sent people to Jade Pass City to investigate. The results were quickly out. Ling Tianba of the Ling family's villa, upon seeing that it was the Wang family's housekeeper, Gu Hebo's men, did not dare to lie and immediately stated that Long Yu did not grow up in the Ling family's villa. As for Jade Pass City, it was even smoother. Not long ago, the 4 great families of Jade Pass City were shaken. Among them, the Feng family had almost collapsed, with only a patriarch and a few dozen people remaining. Once Gu Hebo's men went to Jade Pass City, they easily found out that the Feng family's patriarch, Feng Chang'e, had a foster son named Long Yu. This Long Yu's meridians were blocked at the start, and he was unable to cultivate. He was viewed as trash by everyone. However, not long ago, this Long Yu rose to power, and in the Feng family's gathering, he fought 1 against 3 and defeated the patriarchs of the other 3 great families of Jade Pass City. After receiving all this news, Gu Hebo immediately began to guess. This youth is called Long Yu, 18 years old. Whether it is his name, age, or appearance, they all match the rumors. This person must be the son of the fellow who expelled the Long family more than 10 years ago. Long Zitian's son, Long Yu. This news was quickly passed on by Gu Hebo. Although Long Yu had caused losses to the Wang family, if the Wang family wanted to find Long Yu and take revenge, they did not need the Wang family to personally act. As long as this news was spread, there would definitely be many people who would want to take Long Yu's life. Originally, Long Yu had been deliberately protected by some people, and no one knew his true identity. As for those who knew his identity and wanted to find him, they did not know where he was, no matter what. But now, his identity had finally been exposed. In a short time, some of the great Tang imperial city's forces began to stir. This was because the news that Gu Herbert released at the same time wasn't only about Long Yu's identity and his current location, but also his flattery towards Long Yu. 3 months ago, he was a trash who could not cultivate, but now he had already condensed his true spirit and stepped into the true spirit realm. These words were somewhat exaggerated by Gu Hebo. After all, Long Yu had spent more than 3 months cultivating to condense his true spirit. However, exaggeration had its own benefit. The more exaggerated it was, the more it could reflect Long Yu's terrifying talent, and the more people would pay attention to him. It took less than a day for the news to spread throughout the city. Not only were some of the great Tang Empire's nobles interested, even the common people were very interested. Because many people still remembered that 18 years ago, the great General Long Zitian who fought for the great Tang Empire had colluded with foreign enemies and was expelled from the great Tang Empire. Chapter 118. Just as the news about Long Yu spread throughout the great Tang imperial city, Long Yu met sect master Bai Yun in the Jintian clan. He had already handed Lu Guanming over to Yu Shuiyun. With Yu Shuiyun's care, that black-faced brat would definitely recover soon. Then, he went to the sect master's hall and found Bai Yun, who was chatting with Bu Fong. "Haha, junior brother Long, I heard that you formed your true spirit. Now that I see it, it's really not bad." Upon seeing Long Yu, Bu laughed arrogantly and looked at Long Yu as if he was looking at a monster. "Back then, when I condensed my true spirit, I was already 20 years old. Who would have thought that you would be able to step into the true spirit realm at the age of 18? Sect Master. Long Yu cupped his fists and bowed to Bai Yun. Then, he looked at Bu Fong and smiled. "Senior brother Bu, if you had my luck, you would have formed your true spirit much earlier than me." "Luck?" Bu Fong shook his head. "No matter how good one's luck is, without talent and hard work, it's impossible to form a true spirit. Since you're here, I'll go cultivate first. Master has something to say to you." Long Yu nodded his head and looked at the black-robed figure walking away. Very quickly, he disappeared from sight. Bai Yun looked at Long Yu with a gratified expression. "You really didn't disappoint me. As expected of the flesh and blood of Long Zitian and Beiyao. Come, tell me, what kind of miraculous encounter did you have in the Ling family villa?" Long Yu was quite familiar with the name Long Zitian. Whenever he looked at the 9-nether dragon spear in his hand, this name would appear in his mind. But when he heard Beiyao, he still felt a little unfamiliar. This name belonged to his mother, but he had never seen her or heard anyone else mention her other than Bai Yun. What kind of woman was Beiyao? Long Yu clenched his fist. He deeply felt that his current strength was far from enough. He didn't even have the right to find his mother. Then, he gave a rough account of what happened in the Ling family villa. Of course, he left out the part where he and Lu Yuan were in the lunar stone room. "Oh right, sect leader is knowledgeable. Do you know what the heavenly monument is?" After Long Yu finished, he frowned and asked. "Heaven's steel?" Track of White Cloud was taken aback, as though he had not expected to hear that word from Long Yu's mouth. "Where did you learn about the divine steel?" Tracks of White Cloud reacted. His mustache twitched as a strange look appeared in his eyes. "Normally, only super experts who have reached the level of one with the world would be able to come into contact with this thing. Even I will probably never be able to reach that level in my lifetime. The realm of the unity of heaven and man." Long Yu's expression changed slightly. This was the second time he had heard of this term. The first time was when he followed Yu Shuiyun to the imperial ginseng forest. Yu Shuiyun said that if he could achieve the realm of oneness of heaven and man, he would be able to fly. There were only a few people who could do that in the entire Tang Empire. The second time was what Track of White Cloud was talking about. Unexpectedly, even White Cloud Tracks felt that he would never be able to reach that level in his lifetime. What kind of realm was one with the world? The heaven steel was something that only experts of this level could come into contact with. Didn't that mean that the lunar heaven steel had great potential? No wonder a mere lunar fragment could create Mo Fengming, who was ranked third among the Tang Empire's 9 great young experts. The Tang Empire's 9 great young experts were all young experts under the age of 25. For example, Fang Yun was only ranked 8th among them. As for the 9th, it was the broken blade sex expert, Duan Mia. The difference between Fang Yun and Mo Fengming was the difference between the 8th and 3rd among the 9 great young experts. If they fought, Fang Yun would not even be able to take one move from Mo Fengming. Although I only obtained half of the lunar heaven steel, it seems that even half is an incredible existence. Long Yu thought to himself, looking forward to the power contained within the lunar heaven steel. Looks like you're quite lucky to have obtained the heaven steel. Tracks of White Cloud said with a smile that was not a smile. It seemed like he had seen through Long Yu, but he did not dwell on this matter. Long Yu obtaining the heaven steel was a good thing for Long Yu, the Zhentian clan, and Tracks of White Cloud. The heaven steel was an existence that even Tracks of White Cloud had never seen before. If Long Yu obtained the heaven steel, his future would be limitless, and he would definitely walk further than Tracks of White Cloud. Since you've entered the true spirit secret realm, I can tell you more about the cultivation of the true spirit secret realm. Tracks of White Cloud avoided the topic of the heaven steel and said while stroking his mustache, the 9 stages of the martial path that people often talk about are actually the 3 stages of the body-tempering secret realm. Gathering Xian Qi internal strength, and Xian Qi external release. It's just that each stage is also divided into 3 levels according to strength, which is why there are 9 stages of the martial path. As for the true spirit secret realm, it is actually called the 3 transformations of the true spirit. The first transformation is to form an illusory image, the second transformation is to form a physical body, and the third transformation is the unity of the true spirit. The stages of the true spirit secret realm are also divided into 3 levels according to strength, which is why the true spirit secret realm is also divided into 9 levels. From the first to the 3rd level of the true spirit secret realm is to form an illusory image and strengthen it. At the 4th level, the true spirit has to form a physical body to continue to strengthen. The physical body of the true spirit is at least 10 times stronger than the illusory image, so it won't be easily defeated. Finally, there is the unity of the true spirit, which is the 7th level of the true spirit secret realm, all the way to the 9th level. The unity of the true spirit is the prelude to the unity of the heavens and man. I can't tell you much about the unity of the heavens and man, but the unity of the true spirit is the fusion of the true spirit with your true spirit, borrowing the power of the laws of heaven and earth. This is the transformation of the soul of a martial cultivator. Hearing Tracks of White Cloud's words, Long Yu finally had a comprehensive understanding of the true spirit secret realm. The 3 changes of the true spirit could describe the entire cultivation process of the true spirit secret realm. First, the illusory image of the true spirit would be formed, then the true spirit would be condensed into a physical body, and finally the unity of the true spirit. Illusory image, physical body, unity of the true spirit. The unity of the true spirit was also the prelude to the unity of the heavens and man. It could be inferred that the unity of the heavens and man realm would be after the 9th level of the true spirit secret realm. This realm could be said to be a legendary realm in the entire Great Tang country. Of course, the current Long Yu was too far away from the unity of the heavens and man realm. It was a height that even someone as strong as Tracks of White Cloud could never reach. Sect leader, what's your current realm? Long Yu couldn't help but ask. If you really want to know, you can ask me after you've condensed your true spirit into a physical body. Tracks of White Cloud stroked his beard and smiled. Long Yu was speechless. He could only guess that tracks of white cloud had already condensed his true spirit into a physical body, but he didn't know if he had reached the third level of the true spirit secret realm, the unity of the true spirit. If tracks of white cloud didn't mention it, long you wouldn't know. When a strong martial artist observed someone weaker than them, they would be able to tell their cultivation from a glance. However, when a weak martial artist observed someone stronger than them, they could only make a rough guess. If it was only the second or third level of the true spirit secret realm, Long Yu could easily guess his opponent's realm. However, the gap between him and tracks of white cloud was too huge. He couldn't figure it out no matter what. Alright, if you have any questions during your cultivation, feel free to ask me. Tracks of white cloud said with a smile. As for now, this is the identity token of a disciple of the true spirit secret realm. With this token, you can go to the second floor of the Elder's Pavilion and choose a spirit-level martial skill to cultivate. Long Yu received the jade token that Tracks of White Cloud tossed over and nodded his head to indicate that he understood. Also, you can choose a high-ranked combat weapon. However, since you already have this Qian Dragon Spear, you can choose a defensive combat weapon. Tracks of White Cloud explained. Although a high-ranked combat weapon can't defend against the attacks of a true spirit secret realm expert, it's impossible for a martial cultivator who hasn't condensed his true spirit to hurt you. However, Long Yu shook his head. He had cultivated the demon-subduing tyrant body, and the effect of this body-tempering martial skill had been improving along with his cultivation realm. Currently, he didn't need a high-ranked defensive combat weapon to be able to hurt a martial cultivator who hadn't condensed his true spirit. If he chose a defensive combat weapon, wouldn't that be an unnecessary move? Furthermore, a mere high-ranked combat weapon seemed to be a little too low for Long Yu's level. The 9 Nether Dragon Spear in his hand was a spirit-level combat weapon, and after being infused with the 9 Nether Chi and engraved with the 9 Nether Runes, it had become a supreme spirit-level combat weapon. As for the martial skill he was about to cultivate, the second skill of the 9 Nether Dragon Fist, the Reincarnation Awakening Palm, it was a supreme spirit-level martial skill. A common-level high-ranked combat weapon was completely useless to him now. According to the rules, you still have a month to cultivate in the valley. Tracks of White Cloud looked at Long Yu and shook his head, and said helplessly, however, now that you've comprehended the heaven-suppressing domain, you don't need this month to cultivate in the valley anymore. You can give up this 1 month of cultivation time and go get a spirit-grade combat weapon. What do you think? Is comprehending domain the limit of cultivating a mental cultivation technique? Long Yu asked with a slight frown. That's not the case. Above domain is the law. Only by comprehending the heaven-suppressing law can you be considered to have completely comprehended the heaven-suppressing chant. Tracks of White Cloud stroked his mustache. However, it's extremely difficult to transform a domain into a law, and it's definitely not something that can be achieved by cultivating in the valley. You'll have to find out for yourself. After all, the mastery of law is similar to the power of the heavenly steel. It's something that belongs to the realm of one with the heavens and human. One with the heavens and human again. Long Yu pondered for a moment, then nodded his head. Then I'll choose a spirit-level combat weapon. Spirit-level combat weapons, our Gentian clan doesn't have many in stock. Tracks of White Cloud reminded. Alchemists, our Gentian clan does have old Bai, but we don't have any weapon refiners. These spirit-level combat weapons were exchanged for by old Bai in the Imperial City after he refined spirit-level pills. A weapon refiner, as the name suggested, was a master who refined combat weapons. I see. Long Yu was stunned. The Gentian clan only had one alchemist, and not a single weapon refiner. It was obvious how important alchemists and weapon refiners were in the Heavenly Mandate continent. Chapter 119. Elder Bai was a pill alchemist, and since he had taken a liking to Liao Lele as his disciple, It was obvious that he wanted to teach her pill alchemy techniques and slowly train her. Does that mean that Liao Lele has some talent in pill alchemy? Long Yu pondered, but did not think too much about it. Be it pill alchemy or weapon refinement, they were both extremely difficult and required a lot of effort. Long Yu's focus now was on his cultivation. Only by continuously improving his martial skills could he ensure his own safety. As for pill alchemy or weapon refinement, Long Yu had no time to learn them. After exiting the clan leader's palace, Long Yu proceeded to the second floor of the Elder's Cabinet to see if there were any decent spirit-ranked martial skills and weapon refinement. Although there weren't many spirit-ranked martial skills, it was still worth a look to see what he could choose from. Ever since Wu Jianxin's cultivation was crippled by Bai Zong and he was expelled from the Zhentian clan, the Elder's Cabinet had been managed by Yu Shuiyun. When Long Yu arrived at the Elder's Cabinet, he saw Yu Shuiyun resting with her eyes closed, while the black-faced Lu Guanming lay unconscious in the room. "Long Yu, you're here." Yu Shuiyun opened her eyes and there was a hint of admiration in them. "Follow me. Sect Master has told me everything just now." After saying this, he turned around and headed to the second floor of the Elder's Cabinet. Both the spiritual weapons and the spiritual martial skills were placed on the second floor of the Elder's Cabinet. They were the most tightly guarded, because they were the foundation of the heaven-suppressing sect. Disciples who had not entered the true spirit secret realm were not allowed to enter the second floor of the Elder's Cabinet. Long Yu followed Yu Shuiyun to the second floor of the Elder's Cabinet, and discovered that although it was only a bamboo building, it was protected by a layer of law-suppressing barrier. Even if it was attacked by a true spirit secret realm cultivator, the entire Elder's Cabinet was as solid as a rock, and would not suffer any damage. Yu Shuiyun gathered his heaven-suppressing force and imprinted it on the bamboo door of the Elder's Cabinet, before removing the law-suppressing barrier and opening the door. In order to enter the second level of the Elder Cabinet, one must at least comprehend the heaven-suppressing mantra's force of heaven and earth. Spirit-ranked martial skills are in the room on the left, and spirit-ranked weapons are in the room on the right. You can choose for yourself. I'll be going down first. Yu Shuiyun pointed at the room and smiled warmly. She then turned around and left. Long Yu looked over and saw many stone steels in the room on the left. Each of the stone steels had the cultivation methods for different martial techniques carved on them. The rooms on the right were divided into different categories, with some spirit-grade combat weapons placed on display. As long as it was a spirit-grade weapon, it would be placed here. However, Yu Shuiyun had left without any supervision. Obviously, she was giving Long Yu the highest authority. No matter what grade the weapon was, he could take it away if he wanted. Of course, the number was limited to 1. Long Yu was slightly more interested in the combat weapon, so he strode into the room where the combat weapon was kept. As soon as he stepped into it, a wave of dense battle weapon spiritual chi rushed toward him. These are all spirit-grade combat weapons. There are low-ranked, mid-ranked, and even high-ranked combat weapons. With a casual glance, Long Yu found that there were more than 10 combat weapons in the room. Aside from low-ranked and mid-ranked combat weapons, there were 2 high-ranked combat weapons. One of the 2 high-ranked combat weapons was a white gown that was shining brightly. It was made from the feathers of some kind of bird-type demon beast, and it was completely white. It seemed to have an extraordinary defensive ability, and it could even increase the speed of a martial practitioner. Starting from the spirit grade, combat weapons would be engraved with a unique weapon refining formation, which could increase the combat power of the combat weapon. For example, this glowing white gown was called the White Flowing Feather Shirt. It was engraved with a speed-increasing formation. Although it was a defensive combat weapon, it could still increase the speed of a martial practitioner. The other high-ranked spirit-grade combat weapon was a longsword. Long Yu already had the 9-Yu Dragon Spear, so he had no interest in the longsword. There are only 2 high-ranked spirit-grade combat weapons. Aside from the longsword, it seems like I can only choose that white flowing feather shirt. Long Yu pondered as he walked towards the white flowing feather shirt. Right now, what he lacked the most was speed. This white flowing feather shirt could increase his speed, which was quite suitable for him. However, when he walked towards the white stream feathered gown, he suddenly noticed that there was another battle weapon placed next to the white stream feathered gown. This combat weapon was also made from the feathers of some bird-type demon beast. However, it was shaped like a pair of wings, and was covered with white feathers. A pair of wings? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He picked up the pair of wings that were covered with white feathers, and realized that the winged combat weapon was as long as 3 zhang when fully stretched out. However, the weapon refining formation on it seemed to have been damaged, which made it look less like a spirit-grade combat weapon. The label on the pair of white wings said, "Broken Wings of the Ghost Valley, Super Spirit-Grade Combat Weapon." Wings of the Ghost Valley? Or a broken one? However, this was actually a super spirit-grade combat weapon. He tried to communicate with the pair of white wings with his xianqi, and found that the basic functions of the wings were still good, but the weapon refining formation had been damaged. However, a super spirit-grade combat weapon, just its basic functions alone were definitely very powerful. Let's see how it works. With a thought, Long Yu activated the wings of the Ghost Valley with his xianqi. Immediately, the wings of the Ghost Valley fully extended, and connected with Long Yu's back with his xianqi. Flash! With a thought, Long Yu quickly flashed in the room. The white wings flashed with a bright light, and actually increased Long Yu's running speed by 3 to 4 times. This speed, it's so fast. Long Yu's eyes lit up. Although this Wings of the Ghost Valley was a broken combat weapon, as a super spirit-grade combat weapon, its basic functions were quite terrifying. With this pair of Wings of the Ghost Valley, his running speed could be increased by a few times. This was something that could save his life. Most importantly, there was a big difference between activating a battle weapon and activating a movement skill. Activating a battle weapon consumed very little of one's profound qi. During a long period of pursuit, the Wings of the Ghost Valley was comparable to a divine weapon. As for the high-rank combat weapon, the white stream feathered shirt, its function was more focused on defense, and its speed improvement was definitely not as good as the Wings of the Ghost Valley. Then I'll choose the Wings of the Ghost Valley. Long Yu made his decision. Of course, he wanted to take the Wings of the Ghost Valley and the white stream feathered shirt, but Yu Shuiyun trusted him so much, he couldn't just take them away. If he had to choose between the two, the Wings of the Ghost Valley was more suitable for him. Long Yu dispersed his xianqi, and the Wings of the Ghost Valley fell from his back into his hand. The frame of the Wings of the Ghost Valley was very soft, and it wasn't troublesome to carry it around. He just needed to fold it and hide it in his chest. When it was time to use it, he only needed to use his xianqi to activate it. I'm satisfied with the combat weapons. Next, let's look at the spirit-level martial skills. Long Yu thought as he walked towards the martial skill room on the other side. The spirit-level martial skills were all engraved on stone tablet. In the whole room, there were a total of 20 stone tablet. Long Yu glanced at each of them and found that they were at most high-rank spirit-level martial skills. Even the super-rank spirit-level martial skills didn't have a single move. Among them, the Mighty Heaven Sword skill and the Soul-Stirring Fist were both low-rank spirit-level martial skills. In the whole room, there were a total of 18 low-rank spirit-level martial skills. There were only 4 moves for middle-rank spirit-level martial skills, and only 2 moves for high-rank spirit-level martial skills. There was a note on the stone tablet that middle-rank spirit-level martial skills were several times more difficult to cultivate than low-rank spirit-level martial skills. Even the minor-rank martial skills were extremely difficult. No wonder the senior brothers of the Zhentian clan used low-rank spirit-level martial skills, such as the Mighty Heaven Sword skill and the Soul-Stirring Fist. Middle-rank spirit-level martial skills were not something they could cultivate. Long Yu thought to himself as he looked around the room. He didn't find any spirit-level martial skills that caught his attention. Originally, he wanted to choose a spirit-level martial skill, but now that he had the wings of the Ghost Valley, he didn't need to rush. Cultivating any martial skill required time, and what Long Yu lacked the most was time. He had to successfully cultivate the second move of the 9 Abyss Dragon Fist, Samsara Awakening Palm. Only then could his strength improve by leaps and bounds. As for high-rank spirit-level martial skills, the 10,000 Kill Spear, it was used to kill enemies on the battlefield. It was impossible to improve it by just cultivating. He had to kill people and condense his killing intent to improve it. Samsara Awakening Palm is the next move of the Drunken Underworld technique. It is a high-rank spirit-level martial skill. This move is definitely more difficult to cultivate than all the previous martial skills. Long Yu was mentally prepared. Under such circumstances, there was no need for other spirit-level martial skills. He just carefully observed the effects of all the spirit-level martial skills owned by the Jintian clan, so that he could be prepared to deal with them in the future. This took him the whole afternoon. In the evening, he went down to the second floor of the Elder Pavilion and saw Yu Shueyun in a black robe. He cupped his fists and bowed. "Elder Yu, I would like to find a quiet place to cultivate. What do you think is the best place?" "Old Bai's place?" Yu Shueyun asked in surprise. Long Yu scratched his head awkwardly. He really did not want to go back to Old Bai's place. Firstly, it was not good to disturb Old Bai. Secondly, Liao Lele seemed to have some feelings for him. To prevent any accidents, it was better to stay away from her. As if she had seen through Long Yu's thoughts, Yu Shueyun gently smiled. "Then let's go to the bamboo forest at the back of the mountain. It's at the back of the Elder Pavilion's bamboo forest. Your senior brother Bu also cultivates there." Thank you, Elder Yu." Long Yu nodded with a smile, turned around, and walked out of the Elder Pavilion toward the bamboo forest behind the mountain. The bamboo forest behind the mountain was a spacious place. Outside the bamboo forest was a very high cliff. At a glance, the clouds rolled by, making it look like a paradise. In the bamboo forest, there were many simple bamboo huts. These were the residences of the true spirit realm experts who cultivated here. Apart from a few core disciples, most of the people here were sect elders. When Long Yu arrived at the bamboo forest behind the mountain, he felt a strong true spirit aura filling the entire bamboo forest. Chapter 120. Long Yu's interest was piqued when he heard that someone was sparring. The bamboo forest at the back of the mountain was where the disciples and elders of the Jintian clan lived and cultivated. However, there were not many disciples of the Jintian clan who had entered the true spirit realm. In other words, it was highly likely that the person sparring was an elder of the Jintian clan. Among the 13 elders of the Jintian clan, Wu Jianxin's cultivation had been destroyed and he was expelled from the clan. The remaining 12 elders were all at least at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm. Walking could be said to be the weakest person here. After entering the true spirit realm, Long Yu could finally come into contact with the most powerful and core members of the Jintian clan. Phantom Valley Wings. Long Yu activated the battle weapon with his Xian Qi, and the Ghost Valley wings immediately transformed into a pair of white wings that were 10 feet long. They connected to Long Yu's back, causing his entire body to become extremely light. Go! Long Yu's figure floated in the air. Under the flapping of the Ghost Valley wings, his entire body was like a beam of light that pierced through the bamboo forest. His speed was several times faster than when he used the Wind Flash Step and the Blizzard Combat Boot. In the blink of an eye, Long Yu arrived at the place where people were sparring in the bamboo forest. After that, he retracted the Phantom Valley wings and stood still in the bamboo forest. He looked at the empty space in the middle of the field and saw that there were many people gathered there. In the middle of the field, There was a middle-aged man in a white robe and a noble lady in a black dress. They were sparring with each other. Long Yu had seen these two people in the Elder Cabinet before. They were both elders of the Gentian clan's Elder Cabinet. "Haha, junior brother Long, I didn't expect to see you here." A bold and unrestrained laughter rang out, accompanied by a figure dressed in black tight-fitting clothes appeared beside Long Yu. Long Yu turned his head and saw that it was walking. "Senior brother Boo, you're here too?" Long Yu was a little surprised, but this made him feel a lot more at ease. At least there was someone he knew here. Otherwise, it would be really awkward. "Yes, Elder Yu and Elder Yen are exchanging pointers here. The two seniors have already condensed their true spirits into physical bodies. Their battle has benefited me greatly." Walkman laughed. The white-clothed middle-aged man was called Yu Shengshi, and the noble lady in the black dress was Yen Huanmo. Both of them were experts at the 4th level of the true spirit realm. At this moment, Long Yu had clearly arrived a little too late. That was because the two of them seemed to have finished sparring. "Junior sister Yen is getting more and more powerful. I, Yu Shengshi, am ashamed of my inferiority. Ha." The white-robed middle-aged man smiled warmly and sheathed his sword. "Let's go." Yen Huanma turned around and left, appearing rather indifferent. But before she left, she glanced at Long Yu, seemingly surprised by Long Yu's appearance. New faces. Yen Huanma thought to herself and then disappeared from everyone's sight. Long Yu couldn't help but admire Yen Huanma's noble back view as he watched Yen Huanma's black dress disappear. Yen Huanma looked to be at most 25 or 26 years old, but his martial Dao realm was extremely terrifying. It seemed that there were many talented people in the Gentian clan, but it was impossible to meet them without reaching this level. Yen Huanma left, but Yu Shengshi came to Long Yu's side with a smile. "Little brother Long Yu, I originally thought that you would have to wait until the martial arts competition of the 7 sects to enter the true spirit realm and meet us at the back mountain. I didn't expect you to come so soon." Yu Shengshi looked up and down at Long Yu with a gratified smile. "Elder Yu, I rely on the sect's training." Long Yu said politely. "Training my ass. Who doesn't rely on themselves to achieve anything in martial Dao?" Yu Shengshi laughed and patted Long Yu's shoulder. "The sect is at most a relatively stable cultivation environment. But in such an environment, you still have to rely on yourself if you want to achieve anything." Long Yu was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that Yu Shengshi, a handsome middle-aged man with an elegant demeanor, would actually curse. "Training my ass." This elder Yu Shengshi did not rigidly adhere to the conventional conventions, causing Long Yu to have a deep impression of him. It was a pity that he couldn't see the sparring between Yu Shengshi and Yen Huanma. "All right, if you continue to cultivate here, you'll be able to see the sparring between the elders at any time." Yu Shengshi smiled. "Since you're here, let's find a bamboo house to rest first. For cultivators, everything is simple. As for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, someone will send them over." "Okay." Long Yu nodded his head and left with Yu Shengshi. The other elders also dispersed. But today, the elders had a new topic to talk about, which was the addition of a new face in the bamboo forest, Long Yu. Long Yu had only joined the Gentian clan for a few months, but he had already entered the true spirit realm at the speed of a rocket, attracting the attention of many elders. After finding a simple bamboo house, Long Yu began to rest. The furnishings in the house were very simple. There was a bamboo bed, a bamboo table, and a bamboo chair. Apart from that, there was nothing else. Dinner was also very simple, which was sent over by the enforcement elder. In the eyes of ordinary disciples, the enforcement elder was an existence that couldn't be disobeyed. But in the eyes of the true spirit realm's core disciples and the elder cabinet's elders, he was nothing. After dinner, the moonlight fell. Everyone in the bamboo forest stayed in their bamboo houses. They were either resting or cultivating. The entire bamboo forest was silent. At night, the temperature plummeted. If it was an ordinary person in the bamboo forest, they would definitely freeze into a block. But for the experts in the true spirit realm, this low temperature that could instantly freeze a drop of water into ice did not affect them at all. The first skill of the 9 Abyss Dragon Fist is Drunken Yellow Springs. It is a mortal level top grade martial skill. I have cultivated this skill to its peak and can condense the 9 Abyss explosion to kill my enemies. The second skill that can only be cultivated in the true spirit realm is called Reincarnation Awakening. This skill is similar to the Drunken Yellow Springs, but it can simulate the path of reincarnation and send the opponent into the cycle of reincarnation. Simulating the path of reincarnation and sending the opponent into the cycle of reincarnation was the explanation given by the 9 Abyss Dragon Seal. But as for its specific effects, Long Yu did not know. Maybe I should find someone to spar with. Of course, everything has to wait until I have mastered Reincarnation Awakening first. As Long Yu thought about it, he began to circulate the Xian Qi in his body along the path of Reincarnation Awakening according to the memories of the 9 Abyss Dragon Seal. As soon as the Xian Qi started to circulate, Long Yu felt an extremely strange power that seemed to want to jump out of his body. Is this the power of simulating the path of reincarnation? What will happen to the opponent after sending them into the cycle of reincarnation? Long Yu suppressed his curiosity and continued to circulate his Xian Qi. Now was not the time to be curious. Once he reached the beginner level of this skill, he could find someone to spar with and test it out. However, Long Yu had underestimated the difficulty of cultivating this skill. This was a spirit-level top-grade martial skill. One had to know that the entire Zhentian clan did not have a martial skill of this level. In fact, there were not many spirit-level top-grade martial skills in the entire Great Tang Empire. The power and difficulty of cultivating this skill could be imagined. Long Yu cultivated for the entire night and only stopped the next morning when the person who delivered breakfast knocked on his door. "Come in," Long Yu said casually. As soon as he said that, the door of the bamboo house was suddenly pushed open, and then a delicate figure in a blue shirt appeared in front of Long Yu. Liao Lele. Long Yu was stunned. This lass, why did she come here? Liao Lele leaned against the door and curled her lip. What's wrong? Are you unhappy to see me? That's not it. But what are you doing here? Long Yu was a little puzzled. Didn't they say that disciples who had not condensed the true spirit were not allowed to enter this bamboo forest? Could it be that Elder Bai gave special permission? I'm here to bring you food, can't I? Liao Lele giggled. By the way, my master asked me to give you this. Take it. After saying that, she brought a large plate of soup dumplings with a small porcelain bottle on the plate, which seemed to contain some kind of elixir. What's this? Long Yu pointed at the small porcelain bottle, a little puzzled. Why don't you open it and see? Liao Lele put the plate on the bamboo table, turned around and waved her hand. I'll leave first. I'll come back at noon. Again? Long Yu was startled. From now on, I'll be the one to bring you 3 meals a day. You should be mentally prepared. Liao Lele smiled proudly, then closed the door of the bamboo house and skipped away. Long Yu was a little puzzled. The reason why he chose to cultivate here was because he wanted to stay as far away from this girl as possible. But he didn't expect that this girl would chase him here. However, he didn't know that Liao Lele's pair of bright eyes dimmed as soon as she turned around. How could she not feel that Long Yu came to this bamboo forest to alienate her? At this moment, she didn't have any other thoughts. She just wanted to be closer to Long Yu, closer and closer inside the simple bamboo house. Long Yu looked at the big plate of soup dumplings and the small porcelain bottle. He took the small porcelain bottle in his hand and opened the lid. Instantly, a strong and fragrant smell of medicine filled his nose. It's a spiritual level pill. Long Yu's expression changed instantly. He had guessed that there would be a pill in the small porcelain bottle, but he didn't expect it to be a spiritual level pill. Elder Bai was an alchemist. A spiritual level pill was equivalent to a spiritual level combat weapon. It was imaginable that the entire Gentian clan didn't have many of them. It's a spiritual level upper pill. Long Yu poured out the pill from the small porcelain bottle onto his palm. Feeling the rich spiritual energy coming from it, his face was filled with hesitation. A spiritual level upper pill was priceless. It could even be exchanged for a spiritual level upper weapon, such as a powerful white feather gown. It would naturally have a strong effect on the improvement of a cultivator's realm. However, was such a precious pill really given to him by Elder Bai? Or did Liao Lele beg Elder Bai for it? Long Yu had no idea. Chapter 121. After some consideration, Long Yu decided to consume the spiritual high-grade elixir. In his heart, he had a new bond with the Gentian clan, Old Bai and Liao Lele. Thinking of this, Long Yu took out another small porcelain bottle from his bosom. The essence condensing pill can increase the success rate of condensing the true spirit by 10%. It is a mortal high-grade elixir. Long Yu looked at the small porcelain bottle, which contained the mortal high-grade elixir that he had received from the White Cloud Trail for protecting Yushueyun. When he was condensing the Sun True Spirit, he felt that he had a high chance of success, so he did not consume the essence condensing pill. I'll give this essence condensing pill to Liao Lele the next time she comes. Long Yu made up his mind and swallowed the spiritual high-grade elixir, the essence snow elixir. The essence snow elixir was made from the blood essence of the snow demon beast in the north and mixed with many precious herbs. After consuming it, the blood essence of the snow demon beast would be completely converted into heaven and earth spiritual chi and mixed with various herbs, allowing the elixir's effects to be maximized. Of course, how much a martial cultivator could absorb depended on their talent. For example, if Long Yu did not have the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, he could only absorb 30% of the elixir's effect. But with the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, he could absorb all the effects of 1 Essence Snow Elixir, which was equivalent to consuming 3 different spiritual high-grade elixirs. The 9 Underworld Dragon Seal was terrifying. The effects of the Essence Snow Elixir turned into pure heaven and earth spiritual chi and quickly spread to Long Yu's meridians. A large portion of it was absorbed and stored by the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal. Even with the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, it was impossible for Long Yu to reach level 2 of the True Spirit Realm. Therefore, it was better to absorb a small portion first and store more of the elixir, so that when he obtained more elixirs in the future, he could break through at once. The limit of level 1 of the True Spirit Realm is the strength of 1,200 horses. Now that I've reached it, I won't be able to break through if I don't break through to level 2 of the True Spirit Realm. After a long time, Long Yu had finally absorbed 30% of the Snow Essence Pill's medicinal power, reaching the limit of the first layer of the True Spirit Secret Realm. Then, he continued to cultivate the superior spiritual grade martial skill, Samsara Awakening Palm. Last night's cultivation did not allow him to comprehend much. It seemed like he would still need a lot of time to master this martial technique. At noon, Liao Lele arrived as promised. Long Yu didn't say anything. He threw the spirit condensing pill to Liao Lele and continued to cultivate the awakening Samsara Palm. When Liao Lele saw that he was ignoring him, he could only leave gloomily. What a cultivation madman! Liao Lele thought. This kind of cultivation lasted for 7 days. In the evening of this day, Long Yu finally followed the cultivation method of awakening samsara and circulated his Xian Qi through his meridians. And this also meant that Long Yu had finally succeeded in learning the Samsara Awakening Palm martial technique. When cultivating some complicated martial techniques, one would usually start from the small circulation to familiarize himself with the special power produced by the martial technique. After familiarizing himself with the small circulation, he would be able to complete the large circulation to try and master the martial technique. Samsara awakening palm needed to be cultivated in this way. The difficulty of cultivating it was many times higher than ordinary martial technique. Fortunately, he had the 9 underworld dragon seal, and the Samsara awakening palm was a martial technique derived from the 9 underworld dragon seal, which allowed Long Yu to master it in only 7 days. Drunk lying in the yellow springs, Samsara awakening palm, 2 martial techniques, one after the other. First, it makes people feel like they have fallen into the yellow springs, then it sends them into the samsara. If it is used with full force, the power is extremely terrifying. Even though Long Yu had only succeeded in learning the palm of reincarnation, he could feel the power of reincarnation seeping out of his body after trying out a few punches. If he were to attack other martial cultivators, what kind of effect would there be? He looked out the window. It was already night, so he could only suppress the thought of looking for Walking to spar. It was so late. Walking was either training or resting. It was not a good idea to disturb them now. I haven't had a good rest for the past 7 days. Since that's the case, I'll have a good sleep tonight. Long Yu made up his mind and laid down on the bamboo bed, ready to rest. As he had only slept for 2 to 4 hours for 7 consecutive days, the moment Long Yu laid down, he immediately fell asleep. The bamboo forest was silent at night. Only the moonlight shone on the bamboo forest, accompanied by the chirping of some insects, making the night seem even more empty and lonely. Suddenly, a black shadow flashed across the bamboo forest and headed towards the simple bamboo house that Long Yu was in. Whirlwind spear. From afar, a long spear formed from whirlwind swept towards Long Yu's bamboo house. In an instant, the entire house was pierced through. The terrifying power of the whirlwind exploded, exposing Long Yu's body. With such a huge movement, Long Yu naturally could not sleep soundly. Who's there? Long Yu stood up and saw the black shadow not far away. He could not help but have a strange look in his eyes. The black shadow seemed to be assassinating him, but it blew up the bamboo house with a whirlwind spear. It was obvious that it was purposely waking up Long Yu. Most importantly, Long Yu did not sense any murderous intent from the other party. He's not here to kill me. Long Yu made a judgment in an instant. If that's the case, I'll use you as a target to practice the Samsara awakening palm. The corner of Long Yu's mouth curled up slightly as he rose into the air. Although the other party's martial realm was LV3 true spirit realm, Long Yu dared to fight him since he did not have any murderous intent. Immediately after, Long Yu released his Sun True Spirit. As the light of the heaven-suppressing sun illuminated the entire bamboo forest, the masked black shadow was stunned for a moment. But then, a whirlwind spear formed in his hand and swept towards Long Yu at an extremely fast speed. Heaven-suppressing sun, suppress for me! Long Yu shouted and released the heaven-suppressing domain, shattering the whirlwind spear in midair. Phantom Valley Wings. Long Yu used his profound chi to activate the Ghost Valley winged battle weapon, and his entire body instantly transformed into a stream of afterimages. He quickly shuttled through the bamboo forest, and with a flash, he appeared behind the masked black shadow. Samsara awakening palm, reincarnation road, 1 punch into samsara. With lightning speed, Long Yu threw out a punch. Instantly, the power of samsara jumped out from his fist and enveloped the masked black shadow. Before the punch arrived, the reincarnation road was already under the masked black shadow's feet. 1. Long Yu only felt a buzzing sound. The masked black shadow seemed to have paused for a moment. His martial realm, that was LV3 True Spirit Realm, suddenly dropped to LV2 True Spirit Realm. Samsara awakening palm, reincarnation road, 1 punch into samsara. Long Yu was shocked on the spot. With this punch, his opponent's martial realm seemed to have dropped by a level. How could the Samsara awakening palm be so heaven-defying? If it was said that the current Long Yu was unable to deal with an expert in the third level of the true spirit secret realm, then after the other party's realm dropped by one level, Long Yu was no longer invincible. The drop in his opponent's cultivation is definitely not an illusion. The Black Shadow's cultivation is only at LV2 true spirit realm. However, his cultivation seems to be recovering rapidly as time passes. I'm afraid the drop in his cultivation will only last for a few breaths' time. Long Yu observed carefully and soon discovered this phenomenon. Turned out that the Samsara Awakening Palm, Reincarnation Road, could cause one's martial realm to drop and regress. Could this be the power of Samsara? One could imagine that if the power of Samsara reached a certain level, it could even send the opponent into Samsara, making it impossible for them to revive. Of course, even Long Yu himself could not imagine how much power was required to achieve this. Even if he reached the legendary unity of heaven and man realm, he would not be able to achieve this. Haha. Junior brother Long Yu, I didn't expect you to be so powerful. What kind of martial technique is this? It's too powerful. A bold and unrestrained laughter came from the masked figure. Immediately after, the masked figure took off the black cloth covering his face, revealing a handsome and arrogant face. It was walking. It's you, senior brother Boo. Long Yu was not surprised at all. He smiled and retracted the Ghost Valley wings on his back, withdrawing the Samsara force. How did you know it's me? Bufang could not help but ask. First of all, this is the Gentian clan's forbidden area. It's impossible for an assassin to sneak up on us from the Elder Pavilion, not to mention here. Long Yu explained with a smile. Secondly, senior brother Boo doesn't have any killing intent on you, so you're obviously not here to kill me. Lastly, none of the elders in the bamboo forest came out to check on us, so they must have known about this long ago. After analyzing the situation, Long Yu said in bewilderment, Senior brother Boo, if you want to test my strength, we can have a fair and square fight. With such a sneak attack, you even destroyed my residence. How troublesome. How is it troublesome? I'll let you have my own bamboo house. Bufang laughed heartily. The elders are curious about your strength, so they asked me to test you. Junior brother Long Yu, don't take it to heart. Don't worry, I'm not that narrow-minded. Besides, I've also tried the martial technique that I've just learned. It seems to be quite effective. Long Yu smiled. Bufang still had a lingering fear when he mentioned the awakening palm reincarnation fist. He could not help but hit Long Yu's shoulder. You brat, you really scared me. That fist caused my martial path realm to drop by one level. Luckily, it only lasted for a few breaths, or else I'd be in trouble. I didn't know it would turn out like this. Actually, I've only just learned this martial technique, and I've never seen anyone use it before. Long Yu said awkwardly. Yes, this martial skill is indeed too powerful. As Bufu spoke, his expression turned serious. Junior brother Long, you must remember not to reveal this martial skill in an unrelated place. Otherwise, I'm afraid it will attract some unnecessary trouble. Once you use this martial technique, you must be confident that you can kill all your opponent. I know. Long Yu nodded solemnly. Chapter 122. A powerful cultivation technique was the foundation of a country, a family, or a sect. Powerful martial skills were the foundation for their forces to expand. The appearance of such a terrifying martial skill would definitely cause the entire Tang Empire to go crazy. Seeing Long Yu looking around, Bufang lowered his voice and smiled. Don't worry, junior brother Long. The elders won't know about this move. Only then did Long Yu relax. Although most of the elders were on his side, no one knew if there were people like Wu Jianxin among them. By the way, since you already have such strength, I can bring you out for a walk without worries. Bufang changed the topic and smiled. A walk? Long Yu was taken aback. He did not know what Bufang meant. The Gu Meng kingdom has invaded from the north and stationed troops at the border of the Tang Empire. Many young experts have already gone to the battlefield to kill the enemy. Bu Fong frowned. Moreover, there was news this evening that Feng Chang'e of Jade Pass City was captured by the Gu Meng kingdom. Originally, Long Yu thought that the Gu Meng kingdom's invasion had nothing to do with him. But now that he heard the news, his expression changed. My adoptive father was captured by the Gu Meng kingdom? This is the news that my master told me. So I rushed over to take a look. How about it, junior brother Long, do you want to come with me? Bu Fong asked. Of course, Long Yu said firmly. Originally, he wanted to practice the awakening samsara palm in this bamboo forest until he reached great success. Apart from that, he still needed to comprehend the other half of the lunar heavenly tablet. But since Feng Chang'e was in trouble, he could not remain indifferent. How will our Tang Empire react to the Gu Meng kingdom's invasion? Long Yu asked. The Long family's Major General Long Ji has led 100,000 martial cultivators to the border to resist the Gu Meng kingdom's old General Man Yi. Bu Fong said. However, your adoptive father, Feng Chang'e, was captured by the Gu Meng kingdom's assassins after they bypassed the border and entered Jade Pass City. Jade Pass City is thousands of miles away from the border between the two countries, but it can be considered a place to stay. Moreover, there are traces of Gu Meng assassins, so many experts have gathered in Jade Pass City. I need to make a trip to Jade Pass City first. Long Yu made his decision. That's exactly what I planned. Bu Fong smiled and reminded, however, junior brother Long, you have to be careful. Your identity has been spread everywhere. If you leave the Zhentian clan, your life might be in danger at any time. It doesn't matter. Foster father is in trouble. No matter what, I have to go out, Long Yu said in a deep voice. He had already expected that his identity would be exposed, but he did not expect it to spread at this time. In the Great Tang Empire, the General Long clan, the Mo clan of the Xiang clan, and the Chu clan of the Imperial clan all had many people who wanted Long Yu's life. Yes. Bu nodded and said, although it's dangerous, you don't have to worry. Your grandfather has been suppressing this matter. Even if someone wanted to kill you, they wouldn't dare to do it openly. My grandfather? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. His father was Long Zai-Tian, so his grandfather was naturally Long Zai-Tian's father, a member of the General Long clan. With regards to the General Long clan, Long Yu did not know much. He only knew that the golden-armored youth he saw in the ancient forest of the Imperial clan was definitely a disciple of the General Long clan. To be qualified to be the personal guard of the Imperial princess, that golden-armored youth's cultivation was definitely not weaker than Bu's. From this, it could be seen how large the General Long clan was. No matter who it is, if they want to deal with me, they'll have to ask the 9 underworld dragon seal on my chest first. A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes as he thought to himself. If he really met an opponent that he could not resist, he still had the 9 underworld dragon seal as his final trump card. This was an existence that had inherited a supreme ancient secret. It was not something that the people of the true spirit secret realm could fathom. As for the human and heaven unity realm, would an expert at that level be so bored as to find trouble with Long Yu? The next morning. Early in the morning, Liao Lele came to deliver the soup dumplings to Long Yu, only to find that the bamboo house he lived in had exploded and there was no sign of him. After asking around, she found out that Long Yu and Bu had already left the Zhentian clan. She stood beside the collapsed bamboo house for a long time. That blue robe fluttered in the wind, looking lonely. At this time, Long Yu and Bu were already heading towards the Jade Pass City. The two of them did not rush on horseback, but instead used their own methods to quickly head towards the Jade Pass City. Bu used his movement skill, the world's end near at hand. His speed was several times faster than a horse running at full speed. As for Long Yu, he used the Ghost Valley wings, and at the same time, he used his movement skill, the Spectre Flash, so that his speed was even faster than walking. The Ghost Valley Wings is a transcendent spirit-level combat weapon forged from the wings of a powerful demonic beast slain by a martial expert. When activated, it can move like a gust of wind, and can even glide for a short distance. As the two of them moved forward, Boo Boo introduced the Ghost Valley Wings to Long Yu. It's a pity that the weapon refining array on the Ghost Valley Wings is damaged, and it no longer has any special effects. What a pity! Ghost Valley Wings? Long Yu was somewhat puzzled. The name did not sound like the name of a demonic beast, but more like the name of a protector of an evil sect. Yes, it's a type of demonic beast that lives in groups in the Ghost Valley of Sky Soul. An adult Ghost Valley Wings has the strength of at least the 7th layer of the true spirit realm. Boo Boo explained with a solemn expression, the Ghost Valley of Sky Soul is located at the border of our Great Tang Kingdom, Ancient Meng Kingdom, and Eastern Sun Kingdom. It's a place ruled by demonic beasts, and its territory is extremely vast. I'm afraid it's comparable to our Great Tang Kingdom. The border of the 3 kingdoms, the Ghost Valley of Sky Soul. Long Yu silently memorized the name, but just by listening to Boo Boo's words, he knew that the Ghost Valley of Sky Soul was not a place that he could enter at his current level. An adult Ghost Valley envoy might be able to fight against White Cloud Tracks. However, what made Long Yu shocked was that there was actually someone who was able to kill Wing Envoy Guegu and refine his wings into battle weapons. It could be seen that among the human martial cultivators, there were many people who were stronger than White Cloud Track. The two of them executed their respective techniques and headed towards Jade Gate City. A journey that would normally take 3 days on horseback was completed in half a day. The two of them set off from the Gentian clan in the morning, and they saw the shadow of Jade Gate City in the evening. We're almost there, let's go in and take a look. Boo Boo's movement technique was extremely fast, and although the World's End near at hand was only a mortal-level transcendent grade martial technique, it had a huge advantage when traveling, and it was even more useful than some spiritual-level movement technique. By relying on the Ghost Valley Wings, Long Yu could keep up with Boo Boo's pace, and the consumption of Xian Qi was much less than Boo Boo's. Long Yu walked to the entrance of the Jade Pass City before stopping. As for Long Yu, he kept his war soldier Ghost Valley Wings. He calmed his emotions and entered Jade Gate City with Boo Boo. Jade Gate City was usually a bustling and peaceful scene, but the current Jade Gate City was shrouded in a murderous aura. Within Jade Gate City, there were many inns, taverns, and other places to stay, and they were all occupied by foreign cultivators. Among these cultivators, there were even experts who had condensed their true spirit. Jade Gate City was not the closest city to the border, but it was the city where the ancient Meng assassins appeared, and it was the main road to many cities. Hence, many wandering martial cultivators who wanted to fight against the ancient Meng Empire gathered in Jade Gate City, looking for companions, and set off together. According to the laws of the Great Tang Empire, as long as one could kill the enemy's martial cultivators or generals, no matter what their status was, they would be rewarded handsomely. Even though the Great Tang Empire had already sent out the Long family's Major General Long Ji to lead 100,000 martial cultivators to fight against the ancient Meng Empire, the rewards for killing the enemy still made many martial cultivators jealous. In Jade Gate City, there were so many martial cultivators, and the atmosphere in the city became murderous. It seems like we can't even find a place to stay. Boo Boo looked around and said with a smile. The sky was already dark, and even if they wanted to rush to the front lines, they had to rest in Jade Gate City tonight. Moreover, Long Yu would definitely have to return to the Feng family to take a look. No worries, Senior Boo, follow me to the Feng family, there will definitely be a place to stay. As Long Yu spoke, he frowned. Now that so many martial cultivators had come to Jade Gate City, and Feng Chang'e had been captured by the ancient Meng Empire's assassins not long ago. In other words, the Xinfeng family did not have the power to protect themselves. If the Xinfeng family clashed with the martial cultivators of the Jianghu, they would most likely suffer a great loss. As Long Yu thought of this, he could not help but feel anxious to go back to the Feng family to take a look. Let's go quickly. Now that Jade Gate City is in such turmoil, and the Feng family has no one to guard it, I'm afraid there will be some changes. Bubu also narrowed his eyes, and quickly moved towards the Feng family's residence. He had been to the Feng family's residence, and naturally knew the direction. Long Yu followed Bubu, and his pace was even faster than Bubu's. Very quickly, they passed a few streets, and saw the Feng family's residence in the west of the city. The two of you, stop right there. Suddenly, a ruthless shout came from in front of the two. There were actually two martial cultivators of the Jianghu wearing armor, and they were blocking the way to the Feng family's residence. This scene caused Long Yu's heart to sink. The two armored martial cultivators seemed to be guarding the way to the Feng family's residence, and it was very likely that something had happened to the Feng family. With just the two of you, you dare to tell me to stop? Long Yu snorted coldly. With a glance, he could see that the two armored martial cultivators only had a cultivation of the 6th level of the martial path. These two fellows actually dared to block him and Bubu? In reality, the two armored martial cultivators could naturally see that Long Yu and Bubu's martial cultivation was very high, but the gap between them was too great, and they could not see the specific martial cultivation of Long Yu and Bubu. Chapter 123. Long Yu didn't stop. He didn't even look at the two martial cultivators. They were only at the 6th rank of the martial path. Even if they were wearing armors, they were at most mortal low-rank combat weapons. They couldn't even block a single attack from Long Yu. Stop right there. One of the martial cultivators panicked and shouted, "This mansion has been occupied by our boss. Our boss has already condensed his true soul. If you know what's good for you, get the hell out of here." Gather? Chariot? A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. A pair of white wings suddenly appeared on his back. He turned into a beam of light and dashed forward. He didn't move at all, but the two martial cultivators who blocked his way were sent flying. They fell to the ground and vomited blood. Dark Dragon Leap. Long Yu used this skill as fast as he could. He held the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand and swept it horizontally. A gust of air rolled him up and sent him flying hundreds of meters away. His figure instantly landed in the middle of the Feng mansion, at the entrance of the hall. Bufang followed from afar. He wasn't in a hurry. Long Yu was confident that he could deal with these martial cultivators by himself. What Bufang was more concerned about was a guy hiding in a dark corner not far away. Is he purposely watching the Feng mansion and waiting for Long Yu to take the bait? Bufang narrowed his eyes and walked towards the corner. He had already guessed that now that Long Yu's identity was exposed, although he was suppressing his grandfather in the Long family, there would definitely be assassins sent to deal with Long Yu. And now, he had caught one. In the mansion of the Feng clan, a middle-aged man wearing a white robe and looking gentle and refined was sitting on the seat of the clan master, enjoying the tea and fruits served by a subordinate next to him. Qiu Jinyu was one of the more famous Jianghu martial cultivators in the area. Usually, he focused on training, but coincidentally, ancient Meng had invaded, so he ran out. He was prepared to go out and kill the enemy. He might be able to get some training resources as a reward, which would allow his martial arts to reach a higher level. With his first level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, he easily gathered over 100 martial cultivators of the pugilistic world and came to the Jade Pass city in group. He was prepared to rest for a few days, and at the same time, train the 100 martial cultivators of the pugilistic world on their battle coordination. But after arriving at Jade Pass City, they could not find a suitable place to settle down at all. Coincidentally, the head of the Feng family, Feng Chang'e, was captured by the assassins of the ancient Meng country. This gave Qiu Jinyu an excellent reason to come and occupy the Feng residence. After all, if Feng Chang'e was still around, he wouldn't have dared to occupy the Feng mansion. After all, the Tang Empire had a law that stated that the mansion in the city belonged to the patriarch. However, since Feng Chang'e had been captured, he could use the excuse of protecting the Feng residence to occupy it. In the beginning, the few dozen people of the Feng family were naturally resolute in their resistance. However, with the appearance of Qiu Jinyu's true spirit, who dared to say half a word of no? An expert who had stepped into the true spirit's secret realm was not someone that small shrimps at the 6th or 7th level of the martial path could resist. After taking over the Feng residence, Qiu Jinyu stayed in the Feng residence for 2 days. These days were much more comfortable than when he cultivated peacefully in the past. As for the dozens of people of the Feng family, they were all imprisoned in the martial skill pavilion of the Feng residence by Qiu Jinyu. He did not allow any of them to leave and sent people to strictly guard them. At this time, Qiu Jinyu was sitting in the patriarch's seat in the hall of the Feng residence. He squinted his eyes and asked a little brother beside him, "That's right, that girl from the Feng family, have you found her yet?" "Boss, we've sent more than 10 people out, but until now, we still haven't found any trace of her. I'm afraid that she has already left the Jade Pass City." The little brother replied with some difficulty. "What a bunch of trash." Qiu Jinyu's expression instantly darkened. "I told you to find a girl from the Feng family, but you can't even find her. Just what is going on? If we go to the battlefield and fight against the martial cultivators of the ancient Meng country, wouldn't we not be able to catch a single one? What right do you have to come back to claim the reward?" "Boss, please calm down." The little brother immediately broke out in a cold sweat. "There's more than one girl from the Feng family. How about I go pick another one with soft skin and tender flesh for boss to enjoy?" Qiu Jinyu coldly snorted. "Then pick one for me. Remember, it must be a young one. Only then will it be fun to play with." "Yes, boss." The little brother accepted the order and turned to leave. However, at this time, the sound of the earth quaking came from outside the hall. Then, everyone saw a youth dressed in black descend from the sky and heavily step on the door of the hall. This person was Long Yu, who came after hearing the sound. "Who are you, brat?" Immediately, a martial cultivator shouted. They all felt that Long Yu was very strong, but with Qiu Jinyu here, what was there to be afraid of? "I'm someone who wants your lives." Long Yu raised his head and a cold light flashed in his eyes. "Haha, you want our lives? Why don't you look at who our boss is?" A Jianghu cultivator laughed out loud. However, his laughter stopped abruptly as his eyes popped out of their sockets. Long Yu used the 10,000 kill spear technique and pierced through his chest. Now you want to pick a young girl from the Feng family for your boss to play with?" Long Yu held the 9 nether dragon spear and walked step by step towards the skinny little brother who was preparing to go to the martial skill pavilion. His body emitted an extremely strong killing intent, causing the hearts of the surrounding martial cultivators to tremble. However, when they looked at their boss, Qiu Jinyu, they discovered that he was calm and composed. A brat who still smells of his mother's milk. Does he think that he can do whatever he wants after condensing his true spirit? Qiu Jinyu said coldly as he looked at Long Yu as if he was looking at a dead man. He slammed the table and stood up. Long Yu came too quickly and instantly killed one of his 8th level martial Dao subordinate. This made Qiu Jinyu extremely angry. Although he could see that the black-clothed youth in front of him had also condensed his true spirit and reached the 1st level of the true spirit realm, he naturally did not think that the black-clothed youth in front of him was stronger than him. After all, he had already lived for 40 years. The martial skills he cultivated, combat experience, etc., were definitely much stronger than the black-clothed youth in front of him. Long Yu listened to Qiu Jinyu's words and did not pay any attention to it. He only looked at the little brother who was preparing to pick a girl. Kill! Long Yu raised his spear and a burst of killing intent spread. Boss, save me! The little brother turned pale with fright and hurriedly retreated. However, in the next moment, he felt a pain in his chest. In the blink of an eye, the black-clothed youth had actually arrived in front of him and stabbed the spear in his hand into his chest, shattering his heart meridians. The skinny little brother's eyes widened. He never expected that he would die here. How dare you! Qiu Jinyu was even more furious when he saw this. He never thought that Long Yu would ignore his existence and directly kill another of his 9th-level martial Dao lackeys. Originally, I saw that you had some cultivation and wanted to give you a chance to follow me, Qiu Jinyu. But now you have killed 2 of my subordinates. If I don't take your life, how will I have the face to face my subordinates? Qiu Jinyu shouted angrily as he took out a soft sword from his waist and charged towards Long Yu. Boss, kill him and let him know how powerful we are. This brat who still smells of his mother's milk actually dares to barge in and kill our people. Boss, you must not let him off. The surrounding martial cultivators of the pugilistic world jeered. When they saw Qiu Jinyu attack, it was as if they could already see the tragic scene of Long Yu dying. However, Long Yu did not move at all in the face of Qiu Jinyu's attack. Do you think that you can do whatever you want after condensing your true spirit? Long Yu stood still with the spear in his hand and said indifferently, I will return those words to you without changing a single word. As his voice fell, layers of spear shadows appeared in front of him, accompanied by the heaven-suppressing domain that enveloped everyone present. At that moment, everyone present felt as if a mountain was pressing down on their heads. Some of those with low cultivation couldn't even withstand it and knelt on the ground. Even Qiu Jinyu's figure staggered and almost fell to the ground. Snake True Spirit! Qiu Jinyu shouted, and a venomous snake's true spirit shadow appeared behind him, instantly filling his entire body with a dangerous aura. Flying Snake Sword! Qiu Jinyu held the sword in his hand and bypassed the layers of spear shadows, continuing to attack Long Yu. After he condensed the venomous snake's true spirit shadow, he was actually able to find some gaps in the heaven-suppressing domain and attacked Long Yu nimbly through these gaps. At the same time, the sword in his hand was like a real venomous snake, appearing in front of Long Yu in an instant. 10,000 killer, kill 10,000 with one strike of the spear. If you are only facing one person, then condense the power to kill 10,000 people into 1 point. Even if God blocks your way, I will kill God without fear. With the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand, Long Yu was like a god of death descending on the battlefield as he simply struck out with his spear. This spear contained endless killing intent. Even though Long Yu had only cultivated the 10,000 killer spear technique to the initial realm, it was still a superior spiritual level martial technique. On the other hand, Qiu Jinyu's flying snake sword was only a superior mortal level martial technique. It was already very impressive for ordinary martial cultivators to be able to cultivate some superior mortal-level martial technique. They had no chance to come into contact with spiritual-level martial technique. This was because these martial cultivators usually did not have the qualifications to join the 7 great sects when they were young. After that, they would quietly cultivate on their own. Without the resources of the sects, not only would their cultivation speed be slower, but most importantly, they would not have a source of martial techniques and combat weapons. It was precisely because of this that the martial cultivators of the underworld were so enthusiastic about the invasion of the ancient Meng kingdom. Once they were able to achieve battle merits, they would be able to receive rewards from the great sections. Regardless of whether it was combat weapons or martial techniques, they would have ample choice. When a spiritual-level martial technique clashed with a mortal-level martial technique, the outcome was obvious. Needless to say, this was the spiritual-level martial technique that Long Yu had executed, 10,000 killer. Just as the surrounding martial cultivators of the underworld were mocking Long Yu, who wanted to see him defeated, Long Yu easily shattered Qiu Jinyo's soft sword with a single strike of his spear. Immediately after, the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain descended and completely suppressed Qiu Jinyu. Die. Chapter 124. Long Yu put away the 9 nether dragon spear. Qiu Jinyu, who was dressed in white, fell in front of Long Yu with blood flowing out of his body. An expression of disbelief still appeared on his face. Spirit level, the corner of Qiu Jinyu's mouth slightly moved as he muttered these 2 words. However, he no longer had the strength to say the rest of the words. Spirit level weapon, spirit level martial skill. What he wanted to say was perhaps these 2 words. Whether it was a spirit-level weapon or a spirit-level martial skill, they were both things that he dreamed of. However, before he could obtain these 2 things, he died because of them. As Qiu Jinyo's body fell, the surrounding martial practitioners were all shocked on the spot. Everyone looked at the black-clothed young man, Long Yu. Just now there was a commotion, but now there was complete silence. None of them thought that their boss, who had condensed his true spirit, would be killed by a black-clothed young man. Following the loss of Qiu Jinyo's life force, the true spirit of the poisonous snake dissipated into the air. Finally, someone reacted and hurriedly knelt down while crying, "Great hero, please spare my life. Everything was done by that Qiu Jinyu, it has nothing to do with me. Please spare me." Following this cry, the people present started to cry and beg for mercy. They knew that if Long Yu wanted to kill them, all of them together wouldn't be a match for him. The feeling of empty Tai pressing down on them still made everyone's hearts palpitate. However, Long Yu did not care about the remaining people. He put away the 9 nether dragon spear, turned around, and walked towards the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. Right now, the most important thing was to see how the Feng clan was doing. If anything happens to them, I will make all of you pay with your lives, Long Yu thought in his heart. His entire body emitted killing intent as he walked towards the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. At this time, there were 4 martial practitioners guarding the entrance of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. They were pointing at the empty space in front of them. And in the empty space in front of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion, there was a young man from the Feng clan. His hands and feet were tied, and he was firmly suppressed by 2 strong martial practitioners. The youth from the Feng clan had a young face and was only 16 years old. He was only at the 4th stage of the martial path. At this moment, the 2 muscular martial cultivators had tied the young man up tightly. There was also a fat man holding a large machete, waiting for something at the side. "You 3 little bastards, watch carefully for me." The fat man with the machete was like a butcher. He looked around and said brutally, "If you don't come out, I will chop off this kid's head. I'll count to 3. I want to see if you guys are going to leave me in the lurch." As he said this, the youth who was firmly suppressed had a look of determination on his face. "Hao Feng, Xiaofei Yusin, don't come out. You'll die if you do," the youth roared with a resolute expression. Although this young man from the Feng clan was not old, he was filled with boiling hot blood. In reality, none of the people who stayed in the Feng clan were cowards. From the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion, a wave of loud cursing came out. It was obvious that the other members of the Feng clan were locked inside. Seeing the youth about to be beheaded, they were incomparably indignant. "You bunch of bandits, hurry up and let him go. Bastard! If you make a move, we'll fight you to the death. Everyone, don't worry. Just hold on a bit longer." Big Brother Haofeng must have already gone to the Zhentian clan to inform Big Brother Long Yu. There were a total of 39 people from the Xinfeng clan imprisoned in the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. However, the 4 martial cultivators guarding the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion were all experts of the 9th level of the martial Dao. The combined strength of everyone in the Xinfeng clan was not enough to deal with one of them. Everyone looked through the window of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion and saw that the youth was about to be beheaded. All of them were filled with righteous indignation and incomparable anger. So much nonsense. The fat man with the machete spat on the youth and said with disdain, "You'd rather die than let someone come and save you? You're really stupid. I'll start counting. 3, 2. At this time, the figures of two youths suddenly crossed the wall of the Feng mansion and appeared in front of everyone. One of the youths was dressed in gray. He had a sturdy body and looked to be around 18 years old. His face was firm and his eyes were like steel. The other youth was skinny like a monkey. He was also dressed in gray. His movements were extremely agile and his eyes flashed with intelligence. "Stop, we're here!" The two youths shouted in unison, and their sudden appearance caused everyone present to be shocked. Hao Feng Xiaofei. When the youth who was tied up saw this, his face revealed a look of surprise. He never thought that when he was in danger, Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei would actually appear. However, the two of them appearing now was purely suicidal. Whether it was Feng Haofeng or Feng Xiaofei, even if they had made some progress recently, they were at most at the 7th level of the martial Dao. Facing this group of vicious and evil martial cultivators, the two of them had no chance of winning. Appearing was equivalent to courting death. "You really came out. Should I say that you're really loyal, or should I say that you're all idiots?" The fat man with the machete smiled cruelly. "You two crafty fellows, you're finally willing to come out. However, with just the two of you, you want to save this kid's life. You went back on your word." The steel-like Feng Haofeng glared angrily. "Didn't you say that as long as we come out, you'll let him go?" "I said that the three of you would come out. But now, only the two of you have come out." The cruel fat man with the machete smiled disdainfully. "There's also that little girl, where did she go? Our boss has been looking for her." "Just that Qiu Jingyu and he wants to hit on our Yusin?" The agile Feng Xiaofei's eyes flashed with disdain. "If you have the guts, wait for Yusin to go to the Zhentian clan and call our brother Long Yu back. Then, we'll fight with Qiu Jingyu. Do you dare or not?" "Stinking brat, you're still too young to be able to scare me." The butcher-like fat man's eyes flashed with brutality. "I don't care if you call Long Yu or Snake Yu, I'll kill you all first." When these words came out, Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei's faces instantly turned pale. The current situation, they had never imagined that their Xinfen clan would be powerless against this group of ferocious Jianghu martial cultivators. At this time, everyone in the Xinfen clan thought of that day, the day the Xinfen clan was established. That black-clothed figure, Long Yu, stood in front of them and defeated the other three clan heads of Jade Pass City. Although they had ordered Feng Yusin to go to the Zhentian clan and inform Long Yu, they were not confident that Long Yu would be able to win against Qiu Jingyu of the True Spirit Secret Realm. No matter what, the two of them did not seem to have the chance to live until then. Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei looked at each other, their eyes flashing with determination. No matter what, they had to stop these fellows from killing anyone from the Xinfen clan, even if it meant risking their lives. Kill. Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei condensed their Xian Qi and instantly attacked the fat man with the machete from different directions. Overestimating yourself. The fat man raised the machete in his hand high up, his face revealing a sinister expression, following which Xian Qi condensed at the tip of the blade. With his 9th rank of the martial path, why would he be afraid of these two 7th-rank brats in front of him? However, just as he was about to slash down with his machete and kill the young man who was tied up, a terrifying suppressive force descended from the sky and landed on top of his head, causing his entire body to stiffen. "Heaven suppressing domain, suppress!" Long Yu's voice came from not far away, following which, his black-clothed figure walked step by step towards the direction of the Feng clan's martial skill pavilion. As soon as he arrived, he saw that there were indeed people who wanted to attack the Xinfen clan. Naturally, he was incomparably furious. However, He did not immediately kill the enemy, but hid at the side, wanting to see what Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei would do in this situation. Would they abandon the others and escape, or would they barge in to save them? Reality proved that even if barging in to save them would cost them their lives, they still barged in without hesitation. This did not disappoint Long Yu. What was left of the Xinfen clan were all loyal and righteous men. When the fat man was about to make a move, Long Yu immediately released his heaven-suppressing domain, enveloping the fat man and the surrounding martial cultivators within it. With this, it was as if Mount Tai was pressing down, causing all the martial cultivators to be unable to move at all. What's going on? All the martial cultivators of the Jianghu broke out in cold sweat. What was this powerful pressure? Under this tyrannical heaven-suppressing domain, they could not even turn their heads to look at Long Yu. Hearing Long Yu's voice, all the Feng clan youths' faces lit up. It was actually Brother Long Yu. Even if it was Brother Long Yu, facing so many ninth-rank martial path cultivators, I'm afraid it would be extremely difficult. Xiaofei and we must hold this fat man back. Feng Haofeng thought to himself as he exchanged glances with Feng Xiaofei. Both of them saw the same thought in each other's eyes. Since that's the case, then let's go. Feng Haofeng did not have any hesitation as he executed the Feng clan's middle-rank mortal rank martial skill, Heaven-Splitting Kick. With a whirlwind, he swept his leg towards the fat man holding the machete. This kick was a feint attack. If the fat man wanted to counterattack, Feng Haofeng could immediately retreat and Feng Xiaofei could take the opportunity to harass him. However, Feng Haofeng realized that the fat man was not moving at all. Moreover, his fat face was covered in layers of sweat and his small eyes were filled with fear. What was going on? Feng Haofeng and Feng Xiaofei did not know that Long Yu's heaven-suppressing domain had such terrifying power. It could completely suppress the fat man and all the martial cultivators of the Jianghu. Their martial skills heavily bombarded the fat man's fat body. Their combined strength reached 100,000 jin, and the fat man was sent flying with a single blow. He spat out a mouthful of blood. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.